Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday the 9th of April 2016. I'm your host Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
Woo.
And Robert Kemp.
Cheers. You don't need to say that every time you're drinking a beer on the podcast because that's like quite often.
You could cheers us, but we don't have our own alcoholic beverages.
I don't think I've really I was supposed to say, I don't think I've cheersed on the cast before. I've said I'm enjoying this beer
That too.
in some kind of and then gone into the great deal.
Yes, you don't. That's probably the thing you don't actually need to do every time you're drinking beer on the podcast is discuss the beer.
See, there's no proper breakdown on this one about like the tasting notes, so I think we're fine.
It's not quite as classy as the
No,
previous one.
hops. There's none of that this time.
Okay, good.
Have you ever seen a
moment is
field of hops? There must be loads of fields of hops, right?
Sort of. I've seen, like, it's not really a field, but they had like a line, quite a few lines of it at the Eden Project.
Well, in Stardew Valley, it grows on a trellis, so I presume it's
tall.
on a wire, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of.
Like vines are.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's somewhat similar, I think, to growing like beans, like tall beans.
Yeah.
But you see like vineyards for wine. Well, not in Britain much, maybe in Kent.
Well,
but
maybe you just don't realise that it's hops from a distance. Maybe they just look like vineyards, and you're like, oh, it's a vineyard.
well, that's what I mean.
100%
You don't see vineyards around even.
I'm not 100% sure most of them are grown in this country. I think they
What,
need
the
quite
hops
hot
for
conditions.
Even for the British beer or whatever.
Yeah.
You think, because it's a bit weird, because obviously France has lots of French wine and it's full of vineyards, whereas Britain seems to have a lot of beer, and you don't see the hoppyards, do you?
The hoppyards.
Yeah, like a vineyard, but
They're
for
not all
hops.
made of beer, though, so, I mean, not all made of hops.
Is it like a hope yard? The hoppyard. It's like the land of hope.
I don't know.
Well, one day we'll make good beer. Hope yards. It works. Don't you sigh at me.
Who's sighing? Is Zach sighing at your...
Inside.
No.
I think it was just general exhale.
General exhaling, right. Just too much exhaling
Why
into
are
the
you
mic.
Googling something?
I'm googling hop farm.
Why?
It's a mystery.
There were some in Kent in the 1950s, according to Bing.
Okay.
Okay.
Kent seems to be the only place where you can get, like, grapes growing or hops growing or whatever. It's like the Garden of England or whatever. The only place where it's reasonably warm-ish, vaguely.
No. I think there might actually be a few hop farms in Britain. Tonnage, wherever tonnage is.
Tonnage?
I think it said tonnage. There's one in Germany.
I think there's probably more than one in Germany.
Thanks, Wikipedia. I think it's actually quite German. Yeah, hops are German generally.
Okay, good to know.
World production. Here we go. Wikipedia is.
World
It's got a
production
special
hops.
segment for it.
Oh dear. Okay.
Temperate climates.
Like Britain?
Well, I guess, yeah. United States, quite a lot there, actually.
Where all the beer comes from, basically.
Important production centres are in Hallertau in Germany, and Washington and Oregon. Principal production
Washington
centres in the UK are Kent and Worcestershire and Herefordshire. There we go. Wikipedia reading done.
Boom. Done. Good to
And
know.
China. Actually, quite a lot in China. We're quite low in the chart for hop production. But it can be done.
Well, I hope so.
We managed to extend this beer minute quite well.
The beer minute is now over. What's going on, guys?
I got a parking ticket.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow. What happened?
You parked.
Oh, yeah.
You parked in the wrong place.
Ironically, you can't park at Christchurch Park. Ipswich Knowledge, here we go, the local minute.
I see.
There's no parking near Christchurch Park, and I parked there to go to Park Run.
There's places around Christchurch Park you can park.
Not with good restrictions, you have to park some distance away.
Doesn't the side nearest where the car park used to be, that's usually... If
What side is where the car
space.
park used to be? I don't remember there ever being a car park.
the nearest car park, where like the swimming pool, basically.
Crown.
No,
one.
that side is now all metered up to hell.
Well, that used to be the side that you could park.
Yeah, it used to be.
A long time ago.
You could theoretically park on there if there was ever a space, which there never was.
Yeah, you had to be real lucky. But yeah, now that entire stretch is now on a meter. The other side is all restricted parking for houses.
Yeah,
and that goes all the way up now. Which is what I fell foul of today, because I thought it was still a weekend, reasonable hours sort of thing, like maybe 1 to 2 hour sort of time zone. But it's not. It's all restricted parking, which is dumb, because all those houses around there have friggin' driveways.
Yeah, but it's a very thin road on that side as well.
Thick road on that side. It's wide. No. You can have the parking lane and have enough space for 2 cars to pass each other. It's big.
It's not that big.
It's big.
You should have gone part of the graveyard.
But what I need to do is go like half a mile further, and then there's some space.
But then you're adding an entire mile to whatever running you're doing.
It's the warm up. Everyone tells me I should do more of a warm up.
That makes sense.
Get there earlier and do a little bit more.
Would you actually be in your gear when you got out your car and on the way to the park? Okay, so you could do a slight jog / brisk walk to get going.
Something like that. That's what I should do. It's just because, I doubt myself, and therefore any idea of a warm-up seems like a bad idea. So I park as close as possible.
Right. Yeah, you probably warming up is not a bad idea.
Probably make it easier. A little point, like from where I usually sit to where parkrun starts is like 0.3 miles.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's like, it's a little bit, and I try and jog that, just to wake myself up a bit before doing the 5K madness. Before
Jay comes along and
kills you. He's way too good a runner. He's quite. It was quite good because having someone shouting in your ear, going, "Come on, kick those heels," and all that stuff. He was doing all the typical motivational style thing. Right, it's downhill from here. Come on, it's just a little bit further. Let's get it around that thing, and then we'll do quick feet up the hill, and then we're going to beast it down the tennis courts. It's going to be great. We're on target. Come on, keep going. And he just keeps going. Right, he just keeps saying it, and that is quite nice.
Yeah, but, that's cool.
It does sort of work. At the same time, he's able to do that while running at my pace.
Yeah,
well, and I'm sitting there going, barely able to get. How you doing? How are we doing? Are you getting right? You ready to beast this section? I'm basically going. That's the closest to a word I could get out.
But if he's that good at running, he should just leave, because it's like.
What do you mean?
Well, it's because it's not really beneficial to him any longer if he's going that slow that he's not even having to put in much effort.
I mean, it's kind of all beneficial because you're still putting the miles in, right?
Sure, he could be doing more.
He could be. I mean, he can do it in a good, 8 minutes faster than I can? Which, he can do a 25-minute 5K, and I'm at 34-ish now.
So it's just he should just leave and then leave you alone.
Well, but then I wouldn't have broken my PB by a minute today.
Yeah, without his coaching.
Maybe you would have. Maybe it's
no.
You all along.
My willpower. No. My willpower is the problem. Today was getting me close to where my actual physical limits are, rather than my willpower limits.
Which are nope, this feels crap. Let's go slower.
No, it's like I've run out of breath. Wait, I need to stop. I need to I need to walk it out until I'm breathing like a normal person, and then carry on. Which is what I normally do. But Jay was all I'd stop for 2 seconds and be like, right, ready to go again? And it's like, no, fucking not. Can you just hear me for a second? I'm going, it's like, right, let's go. Keep that momentum up. And it's like, my willpower is not as strong.
I don't think that's...
I need someone beasting me.
I don't think that's a problem, though. Well, because,
I'm not pushing myself is the problem.
Well, basically, does anyone really know exactly what the best method is to improve your times over time? It's
probably not.
No,
just run more, probably.
Yeah, just do it. Not. You don't have to do it fast. You just do it. Surely that's the actual answer.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to come a week soon where I'm not going to improve, right? Because I reckon I was very close to that today.
But yeah, but that's because today you were going literally as fast as you could.
Mm.
It's like, that's not going to improve immediately. You have to ratchet that up over time. You can't, if you go that fast every week, that's not necessarily going to be the best thing.
No, probably not. You're probably right. It is a balance, right? There comes a point where you can't just beast it every week. But I've done it. I've done it 5 times now. Not in 5 weeks, but I've done it 5 times, and I've shaved 5 minutes off my time so far. I think that's pretty good.
Yes, but now you've given yourself a psychological thing where now you've beasted it this one time.
Oh yeah.
This uber person best, and then you're like, I'm never going to hit that again forever.
No, I think you're right. I think I'm going to suck for the next few weeks.
It's like you should only try and beat your personal best by like a couple of seconds every week.
Yeah, by a little bit. I'm screwed now. As I say, this one just felt so bad, right? I felt so horrible at the end of it. I was like, everyone else normally goes off and has a little chat at the end of it, a bit of a social and stuff. I had to take like 10 minutes out to find a bench and then just sit there dying for a really long time. And then
just lie on the floor. It's cold.
It was damp this morning, man.
It's very cold.
Yeah. It was damp.
Roll around in the damp.
Just absorb the ground into it.
I'm sure you were already quite damp by that point.
I wasn't too bad. Well, it was a little bit drizzly, so I would have been damp from rain, but rather than muddy. You don't get mud particles in the air.
You don't want mud particles in the air.
No, I'm saying you don't get mud particles in the air.
No, you don't.
I'm not a jockey.
You're running directly behind someone, maybe.
Well, yeah. If it was cross country, then yeah, my face might have been a bit more covered. But it's a puff, so it's fine. Anyway, Ronan. We keep doing that thing where I said I wouldn't talk about it, but parking tickets led us down that road.
Yep.
Yeah.
Parks. There's no parking at the park. Is that ironic? Does that work?
Well, you're meant to walk around in the park, so it's why are you bringing your car to the park?
Yeah, I know. Is it? Yeah, ultimately, I shouldn't even be doing that. But I'm not quite there yet. Yeah, it's like 5k to the park. It's not that far.
That's what you should do. Is just run to the park, cross the finish line that's there, and then be like, okay, I'm done. Now I'm going home.
Yeah, just scam. I mean, if you wanted to, it'd be quite easy to scam park run because they don't tag your start.
Right.
They only tag your end. So it's you could just skank it.
What would be the point of trying to fool them though?
No, there is no benefit. It's not like it's a proper competition. No. It's like unless you were then trying to gain entry to some high class running club or something.
Oh, so high class.
You've got to be able to have an official time of this, but then maybe your park run score might count. But then why would you do that? I don't know why. So you've got an official number on a public website to say I'm awesome, so you can point people at. Maybe. Fake bragging rights. That's why people cheat in video games, right? Fake bragging rights. Because why else would you do it otherwise? Why?
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Just to annoy people who are doing it, honestly, I guess. Would you want to do that? Be like, oh, that bastard is always winning. But in the Ipswich Park run.
That guy, he's just called himself Cheaty McCheaterson or something. So turns up on the public leaderboard and is like, I cheated my way around this.
Awesome.
My running club membership has changed this year, so I technically will get a UKA number, which means I'm officially an athlete in the official capacity. But that's your cue to laugh.
No, full-on athlete. First happy salad athlete.
I'm really not.
A salad athlete.
To an E-athlete. That's number. So you can go into esports.
Oh, what? Yeah.
Get your visa on the esports athlete.
There probably
whatever it is.
Yeah, there probably isn't a register for that, though, right? To be an esportsman.
I mean, they get their visas specifically because they have esports specific visa application now.
Okay.
Now that it's semi-official.
Yeah, I suppose you need to be able to get into Germany for a period of time.
Yeah.
If you're a league player.
But I don't know if there's an actual overarching board or whatever that all of them go into, all the UK ones or whatever.
Well, maybe that depends on what's hot in that country, right? So League of Legends is hot in Germany. So maybe whoever runs, I forget what the LCR or something? Yeah, whoever the governing body of the League of Legends tournaments is, like, maybe they struck a deal with the German government.
The German government.
the German government to do that. But maybe if you're trying to play Dota, you need to go somewhere else. The Germans have nothing to do with Dota, so maybe they don't know.
Well, I thought it was the other way around. It's like the British government, at some point decided that esports was enough of an official thing that people representing the country can get the same benefits as actual athletes.
With regards to, I don't think that's how visas work, right? The receiving country has to.
Yeah, but they have to be like backed by the. You have to have people in the originating country.
Yeah, I guess you need someone to vouch for you, I suppose.
Yeah, to say this is legit. Yeah. Please let them into your country.
Yeah, esports. We ended up watching it was filmed last year, I think, at least quite a while ago.
Yeah. Of course it was, because it was a TV program, so it was probably filmed much longer ago.
Oh yeah, no, it would have been. Yeah, it would have been. It would have been filmed around It was filmed around Gamescom last year, but aired some time ago. Now we just got around to watching it, and it was called Super Gamers on BBC Three, and it followed esports kids.
That sounds rubbish. Was it good? Was it interesting?
You know what? It was actually not too bad. By the usual standard of TV video game documentary, it actually it was actually kind of okay. It did the trick of trying to narrow down its focus and following a few people.
That's cool. Yeah.
And what their lives are currently like. I don't think it necessarily covered everything but it was a pretty good insight to what these pro gamers go through. What their routine is.
Who was it that did that little documentary about the South Korean StarCraft people? Did Giant Bomb do a little documentary at some point? Somebody made it for them. I can't remember. Do you remember that?
I don't know.
And it was they were working. They
do Giant Bomb usually do stuff?
No, it wasn't. It's not their normal type of thing at all. I just remember it being associated with them somehow. And maybe it was 2-player productions or something. I don't know. But anyway, there was.
That sounds like more likely. It would probably be them for Penny Arcade or something.
Yeah, maybe.
When PATV was a thing.
I mean, it was really cool because it was, they were. The teams had their own dormitory basically, and they slept in shifts and just played StarCraft and stuff like that. And they had a big rice cooker basically, and that was their life.
We eat nothing but rice cooker.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Anyway, that's cool.
It's like they were saying, none of them really go out and drink and do stuff like that. And it's because they can't really. And but the other thing is it's the day shift, right? Because they're basically still student age, effectively. Yeah. They live at student time scales, so they wake up in 1 in the afternoon and stuff, and then play till midnight, and that's their working day.
Right.
Is as soon as they wake up till midnight, and then they get free time, as they described it. It's from midnight onwards.
Yeah.
It's weird. Why not just do it?
Normal
I suppose
times.
Not every team has to operate at that on that schedule, but do it normal times. What's wrong with that?
Everyone knows that you play on the American schedule. That's just how you get the maximum number of people to play against.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah,
that's what happened to me.
Yeah,
and also
that would match up, right? Because they'd be 9 hours behind to Germany.
Yeah.
For me,
on the West Coast.
Yeah.
This probably doesn't factor into esports at all, but for me, it just always feels more natural playing a game, when it's a bit darker outside or whatever. In the evening makes more sense. During the day, it's a bit weird. It's fine, but I don't know. There's something about it.
Depends what you're playing. Yeah, maybe that's true of a multiplayer game, right? If you're.
Yeah.
Although in fairness, I've spent most of my Splatoon time in the middle of the day.
Yeah, but
that is the other reason why it's you can't really start playing multiplayer games until 5 when other people get home. And
I guess there's less interruptions, right? Once everyone's fooded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Had their evening meal. Although that wouldn't work out for these guys, right? They'd evening meal would probably be at 1 in the morning. But
that's my schedule, isn't it? You have breakfast at lunch, effectively lunch and dinner, and then you eat something about midnight or whatever.
Yeah.
That's that.
Cheese and crackers.
Is that your schedule, Zeg?
Pretty much.
What do you eat at lunchtime? Do you actually have like a breakfasty type meal, like
Well, yeah,
cereal?
I have breakfast when I wake up.
Oh, right, okay. But that's at like 1 p.m. or something.
Yeah, whatever. Time about.
So you don't feel like, it's despite me only just having woken up, it's technically lunchtime. I should have a sandwich or something.
Well, I'm effectively having a sandwich anyway because I'm eating toast. So it's basically the same.
Sorry, very brief interruption about my band just decided to tell me I'd completed my calorie goal for the day. But the calorie goal, like the language it uses for the calorie goal is really strange. Like previously, I've seen it go sweetness, and spell it out really long, like sweetness. And this one was even more ridiculous to the point where the long word didn't fit on one line, and it just basically said goal.
Okay.
Sweet.
You met your calorie goal. Why? Why do that? Like, why not just say congrats?
Because it's funnier. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's more Alan Partridge style.
One. The step goal one is normal. It goes, yeah, congratulations, you met your step goal. It's like the calorie goal is the insane one.
Right.
Maybe no one hits that goal very often, so the writers get away with putting something stupid in there. Anyway, sorry.
The
Wake up
Microsoft
food.
band.
Yeah, it's cool. It's still a cool thing. So what's your lunchtime food is like sausage stuff?
Whatever's for dinner.
Yeah. What kind of is your dinner these days? Like, I'm just
whatever
interested.
there is.
Whatever there. Well, yeah, but what kind of stuff is that? Like,
I don't know. So I think I'm starting to like. The trouble is that I don't like very many different things.
No.
But I also
know that much.
But I also don't like having the same thing too much, which is a really
Classic
difficult position to
problem.
be in.
But don't you like cheese and crackers like every night?
Well, cheese sandwich.
Oh no! Was it the lazy toasted cheese sandwich?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cheese has got a lot of stuff in it, like protein and shit or whatever. It's obviously it's not good for you in large quantities, but like
No, it's like
keep you going, won't
50%
it?
fat.
Yeah,
It's
but
like-
that's what you need if you don't eat anything, right?
I guess. Yeah.
But it's just like too many times. It's just like when it's something with rice, and it's just like fucking rice.
Oh, yeah, rice.
I'm really
But-
getting done with rice.
Yeah.
here.
No, I absolutely had that as a kid. My mum would like cook
Too much
stuff
rice.
with rice all the friggin' time. Like bad curries. Like just
Well, in your case, yes, bad curries.
they were
I have experienced the curries that occur at your house.
Oh, what, in Needham?
Yeah, at some
oh,
point.
Oh man, okay.
I was
can't
definitely
remember
there
that.
for a dinner.
Yeah, sorry, Mum, they weren't great, and I got really fed up of just the plainest of rice. Right, even if you slathered it in that curry sauce, it's just something about it was just the plainest of rice, and I just like boycotted
Boiled
rice for
rice.
ages.
Yeah.
But for like a decade, pretty much. Like whenever I made a curry, I would make a noodle curry instead, or something like that.
Right.
It's only
It
relatively
can be really
recently.
nice, obviously, but not.
Yeah, it can
if you
be. Like,
if you get
takeout
it from
rice
the
is fine.
takeaway. Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
like
eating out curry rice is fine, but
the thing that I never get tired of for some reason is pasta. Like I get tired
Yeah,
of
I was
rice.
about to say it's like
Yeah.
I
no.
probably have pasta probably at least as much as rice. And I don't think I'd get bored of that.
I think I get less bored of pasta, but I do get bored of it. Like it has to be like really saucy and
I think
like,
it's just
super-
like there's a
the
weird.
stuff around the pasta has to be extra tatey. The pasta itself isn't the problem.
I think it's just because there's some kind of like there is some kind of taste to pasta.
Yeah, there
whereas
is,
rice
yeah.
can be incredibly bland if it's just bland.
I mean, you can have bad pasta for sure, but it's harder to do to make bad.
It's like I don't
Like you can microwave
having-
pasta in a microwave meal and it tastes fine. Like not amazing, but
Especially if you just have pasta like without a sauce, though, that's real.
no,
real.
but no one does
That
that.
is so dumb. It's like even if you have like some of those, like, I think it's tortellini sort of type stuff. Like
Right.
Well, that I don't
unless
like
you
those.
unless you sauce that. Or no,
You
I
have to
don't
have a
like
creamy
meat.
sauce or something.
I don't like meat tortellini or meat ravioli because the meat
No.
in them just tastes like
No,
cat
I
food.
never like that.
Like, it's
I
just-
never like the
And the
kind of
weird pasta
packaged
as well that they sometimes have.
any kind of like parcel pasta that keeps the stuff inside of any kind. I don't like.
Oh no, it's fine if you get the ones that are like vegetable based, like a
Like
ricotta and
spinach
spinach
or
or
something,
something, or
You
Yeah.
get one that's just full of cheese.
or even mushroom. Yeah, or
I'd ra-
ones
I'd
that
ra-
are just full of cheese. There's a garlic one that's quite nice.
I'd rather just have it in the sauce. What's the deal with putting it inside the pasta? It's weird.
It means you don't have to
Because it's
clean
solid.
sauce out of a pan.
Yeah, that, and
Yeah,
it's
I suppose.
solid. But we do have it, so we cook the tortellini and then we'll put a sauce on it. So it's like it's a saucellini.
You want to put some
That's
tomatoes.
true.
I like tomato sauce to be involved in some fashion. I mean, I quite like the creamy ones, but I most 90% of the time I go for the tomato-based ones.
Nah, I'm on the cream side.
I don't like.
Yeah.
I like tomato sauces, but I don't like tomato sauces that have giant lumps of tomato in.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
a lot of people are weird and don't. I like the tomatoes all around, but some people they can't have cut up tomatoes or whatever. But
Yeah,
they can have the
Gnome's
sauces.
like that.
Yeah,
Gnome
I
can't
don't
eat
like raw
tomato.
tomatoes, really.
Yeah, Gnome's the same. She can't have tomatoes as tomatoes.
I really like raw,
Usually-
raw tomatoes in like salads and bruschetta or whatever. It's so nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely not against that. I think like she won't have cherry tomatoes because of the sort of popping sensation.
Well, and because that can go horribly wrong and just go everywhere if you do it badly.
You've got to have your mouth closed.
Yeah.
Right. The
But that also
spray.
means you basically have to eat them in one shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
But that's what's good.
And even then, that can still, the first
Yeah,
bite
'cause-
can be dangerous.
And cutting them up could be a messy affair
Yeah.
as well.
Well, yeah, tomato juice gets fucking everywhere
Yeah,
when you're
the-
cutting tomatoes
and the-
because they're just full of juice.
Yeah, the little pips go everywhere, and they will just you make a little tomato bath.
Yeah, exactly.
cutting
That's
board.
not great. That's more washing up.
Yeah. All right. so you basically have boring rice meals.
Sometimes. Also, I think I've got to the point where I'm also like, I need to declare my need to take a break from just liver.
Liver? Oh, you eat liver?
Well, it's liver and onions or whatever, it's like liver
wow.
with a sauce and onions. And it's just like,
I-
that's fine sometimes, but when it's just like, if you've had it too often, it's just like, this liver is really starting to...
I couldn't tell you what that tastes like, right?
No.
My only exposure to liver
It's
is
like liver. That's what it tastes like.
I don't know what that is. Does it taste like blood or like what is that? Like, I don't know. Is it
Just a weird taste of meat.
because like obviously they make a lot of pate and terrines out of chicken
Yeah.
liver and stuff like that. But
Duck liver and stuff.
yeah, no idea. I don't think I've ever had.
I really like
it.
pates and stuff, but I don't think that's what liver tastes like when you have it liver and onion style.
No.
I mean, it's fine. It's just like when liver is like the only meat, and that is basically the only thing. That's like the only constituent of that meal. I mean, but sometimes literally, it's like you can have potatoes maybe with it or something.
So does your family like do butcher runs?
No,
Like to get the livers?
it's just like standard store bought
you
stuff.
can get store bought livers.
Yes.
Yeah, I reckon
I've
you can.
never seen that.
It's not like a whole
You
liver.
have.
It's cut up, I reckon.
Well, you
Isn't
can get a significant chunk of a liver if not
Yeah.
a whole one, because a whole liver is quite fucking large.
Yeah.
Like I go in the poultry section, and all you get is like bits of chicken.
Well, you don't get chicken liver that much.
No, okay.
Normally, like lamb.
Oh, you see, I'm not a lamb person, so I don't normally check out the lamb section. Maybe it's there.
You want because that's the thing about livers. Obviously, is like you want them when they haven't been exposed to a whole shit ton of toxins over the long life of an animal.
And he goes, "Let me tell you the thing about livers."
Right, you don't want an old alcoholic sheep's
Yeah,
liver.
exactly.
You want a lamb's liver. Right, okay.
You know the smoker's liver.
No. Well, I don't
that
know
was
if
it. I
smoking
don't know if
necessarily
that
has that
affects
much
it, yeah.
impact on livers.
Probably still does. Smoking
Probably,
affects everything.
at some point. But yeah, it's just like large quantities of liver. It's fine that when you start off, but by the time you're getting to the end of it, it's like, I've really had enough of this.
Mm.
And that's why also my other trouble is I just don't like large quantities of sauce, really. And in the liver situation, the sauce is what's
What makes it
covering
good?
the liver.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
you see, I'm exactly opposite. I cover it in sauce.
Yeah, me
Cover it
too.
in that sauce.
More sauce.
It's like
I don't
a-
like dry
yeah.
things. I'm really bad with dry food.
I mean, there are certain things where I'm a bit different. Like if I'm having a chicken burger, I like that to be quite dry and crispy.
Sure.
Like if I'm having a,
But you
no,
want
actually,
freaking
if I'm
mayonnaise
making-
on it or something, don't you? I don't know.
Yeah,
Or some
why
kind
not?
of
Actually,
salsa sauce or shit.
Actually, I tend to just use like spread, like flora. Just like
You
have
just
it-
put butter on it.
yeah, pretty much.
Ugh.
It's not really butter. It's
No, that makes it even worse.
it's low fat spread. That juices up enough if you do it if you get the right timings, you put it on your bun, and then when you put your chicken on it, like it melts it a little bit.
My
It's
actual
like,
problem
that's quite nice.
with with sauce is not actually a problem with sauce. It's a problem with like liquid. Because it's just like
I don't drink
properly
water.
Jesus Christ, properly drain pasta and rice. Don't leave it in a pool of literal water.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
That
Definitely.
sucks.
Yeah.
On the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's wrong. Yeah.
You have to really, really shake it down. Make sure you get as much moisture off it before you're putting it onto the plate as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's why I also don't like stuff like bolognese and stuff, because it's just like, that's 90% water, essentially.
It can go bolognese can go quite
right?
juicy. Yeah, the trick to bolognese is to cook it low and slow.
Yeah, you have to get a lot of the water out and just leave sauce, and then it's better. But no, if there's too much water, and then you're already putting it on top of something which already is also containing water.
Also helps if the leaner the mince you use in a bolognese, because you get less fat just coming out, which forms some of the fluid. And
we should do a podcast before we keep talking about food and then
Cookery.
Because it's already 7 o'clock.
Cool.
Pizza. Oh, by the way,
time would be important.
you know that Ideas Channel thing I showed you? I can't remember. What did we watch? The
about
YouTube
the
poop
YouTube
one.
poop.
Yeah, where the guy who's like quite annoying, even though because he's super enthusiastic, and talks like really, really fast. He did an episode last week on pizza, so I would recommend watching that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, don't watch that. You don't want to know.
Do I not want to know?
Pizza.
Dan, do I not want to know? Is it negative on the pizza? Or is it,
No, of course not. Of course, it's not negative.
It's pizza affirming.
Yeah, like the last one wasn't negative.
Don't watch that either. You don't need more. You don't need more reasons to eat pizza.
Just because I don't need it doesn't mean I don't enjoy it.
It's just interesting. It's like history of pizza, basically, or whatever. Stuff like that.
That's that.
And the different kinds and like American kinds and stuff.
The idea of making a pizza is quite good.
Here's an idea.
Yep. Pizza. Here's an idea. Cheese on bread.
Exactly. Boom.
Fucking A.
It works.
Cheese on most things works. Most things. There's probably more things that cheese works on that doesn't work on in food land. Are you just checking my facts?
Yeah, just checking that. Yes, that's true.
Trying to build a mental picture. Like desserts. Even in a weird way, even in dessert land, there's like cream cheese and stuff like that.
Dessert land is
like
part of food land, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a part, different area of food
I'm
land.
not sure cheese on your Frosties is a good idea.
No. I mean, there's definitely exceptions. But who wants to eat any kind of stuff that doesn't go well with cheese?
Occasionally you do need a break from cheese. I'm sorry, cheese.
Fair enough.
Every now and then. It's quite heavy. Cheese is quite heavy.
Indeed.
Even Philadelphia. Really cream cheeses. What's going on?
Not a lot. I don't know. Is this a podcast about video games? I don't know.
A little bit. We talked about esports.
Don't know what else is going on. We've done all the kitchen bitching. To some extent, talking about.
Oh no! Wait!
what was
Actually, I should have segued way better than this. I've got some pizza news.
Pizza news.
You nearly knocked over the microphone. That was well close.
Okay.
You nearly fell on your ass.
Yeah, I didn't do it. Check this out, right? Okay, Zach can see this, but I'm going to try and explain what this is.
What is there to explain? That's not a complicated concept.
It's pretty ridiculous. Like, Pizza Go-Go has sent through a leaflet through my door advertising the £500 gold pizza, which is a pizza.
Which means they've just put gold leaf in it.
Yeah, they've covered it in...
What?
Now, is it normally 23 carat? Like, is 23 carat a thing? Should it be like 24 carat?
Well, 24 would be too expensive. That's why it's 23.
23 carat gold flakes on the crust. White truffle oil, and then it's a caviar, lobster, and fantail prawn pizza.
Sounds horrible.
Although the image that they've got on here shows a fucking lobster claw in the middle of the pizza, which I really hope is not how that works.
Yeah, a bit of me hopes it's just like the lobster is just sat square in the thing. Like,
writhing around in the middle of the pizza.
You don't have to deal with it. But it gets crazier. Like, so the 500 gold pizza bundle includes the pizza, which, you'd sort of expect. A red carpet delivery which I don't know how quite that would work. Would a limo pull up outside and like roll out
red carpet?
Unroll the carpet,
literally.
And then you get a butler to
What, for
serve
the
your
night?
pizza to you. I don't know.
Well,
It doesn't
presumably
go-
the butler just comes in the car with the carpet and does the up to the door part and then leaves, I would guess.
It says butler service of the pizza at your location. I would want, if I'm getting a butler, I'd want him to put it on my plate and slice it in front of
into
me.
your house and put it down, but that's not...
Some of this depends on how that lobster element is included here. Does the butler deal with the lobster? Like,
Lobster butler.
If you're having to cook the pizza with the lobster on it, then the lobster's already done. There's not... You're not dealing with it at that point.
and you want to also have to make sure you order 3 days in advance. Presumably so they can organise a butler.
Well, all the gold.
What, you can't just do it on a whim when you're drunk? That's no good.
No.
No one's ever
apparently
going to get it. You have to anticipate being stupid enough to want to buy that 3 days in
So a
advance.
bit of me wondered, I did seriously wonder if this was an April Fool's joke, but it arrived a week late. It was hand delivered a week late.
Right, for
So-
April Fools, yeah.
So, bloody hell, that's a weird thing. Does gold actually have a flavour?
No.
Like, because it's in
Probably
like
kind of tastes metally, I would imagine.
metally.
Yeah, it's in that drink, isn't it? Or whatever, the one that's in
It's
Grimman
in Goldschlager.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when it's mixed into a drink, that's probably not going to be noticeable. But when it's actually like on a pizza crust and it's like on the crust,
Yeah, like with where the garlic sort of seasoning would normally be.
yeah, and it's just like it's basically on a bit of bread at that point, so you theoretically should be able to taste it, assuming it has much of a taste.
Assuming it has a taste, yeah.
I don't think it
I mean,
makes
I
for
would-
the best pizza topping, I would have thought.
I bet gold tastes like money.
Well,
I don't know, money tastes like
metal.
paper, doesn't it? Or metal.
I don't know, have you ever sucked a coin?
Well, coins are different because they're copper, and that's a
No,
specific
that's
flavour
not really
as well.
gold. Yeah, what you need to do is get the 3.5 mil jack, gold-plated jack from your expensive pair of headphones, and just suck on that for a while, and then you've probably got an idea of the extra flavour that's being added to your pizza. Top tip.
Yeah, I don't think gold probably doesn't taste very much of metal. It probably tastes of metal because it's like
It
iron.
just tastes cold.
Iron and copper are like quite strong tasting for metals.
Yeah, you can definitely taste iron. Iron has a very specific flavour.
Do you
Although I
actually
wonder if
taste
that's-
the iron or the oxidant on the oxide layer that forms on the iron or something?
Good question.
Well, I was
Yeah.
wondering whether, like, the main reason. I wonder if the reason that we think iron and copper taste strongly is because it's a thing that sometimes occurs in the body, so you sort of naturally know that taste.
Right, like
What blood tastes like.
Yeah, like blood
Yeah.
that tastes irony because it's got iron in it.
Yeah.
And copper is less common for like just existing in your body, but it does.
So there, the gold
There you
pizza.
go.
I thought you'd want to know.
exciting times.
we are entering a new era of high class pizzas.
I don't think that's a new era. That's quite putting gold on shit is like that's 5 years ago at this point.
Oh, what you actually reckon? Like the white truffle oil, the caviar, and the lobster fantail prawns is nothing, but putting gold on it makes it the only way is Essex of pizzas, or is it like the vajazzle of pizzas?
Yeah, it sounds like it to me.
Putting gold in shit is well old at this point.
Well, old. It's so last year.
I mean that's why it's now happening at a fucking pizza restaurant.
Well, gold is so blasé.
Yeah, exactly.
They should be making it out of
Lost it.
platinum.
Yeah, if you want to, there's way more expensive things than gold you can mix into shit. It's just because gold is a classic. You can put platinum in there. You can put
Gold.
I'm
Gold
trying to think
sounds
of one of the
expensive.
other stupid rare metals that you can put in there. Palladium or something.
Uranium.
I don't think you want to eat that pizza.
This is the exclusive plutonium murder pizza.
Polonium 210.
I guess technically,
Murder pizza.
Yeah.
I guess technically that is the other reason that you use gold for this because gold is hella inert.
Yeah, so
True.
it's not
You
gonna,
probably wouldn't want to eat most other heavy, like rare metals.
Lead.
yeah, lead pizza would not be good. You want the
It would feel expensive.
Could put
Because it's hella heavy.
bullets on it.
News!
News. Ah.
I'm calling it.
Guys, I put my stupid first GitHub project or whatever up. So check that out.
Snap.
Give it a star or whatever. So like a grid layout library thing. So you use it for your websites or your games, maybe, if you make a game with HTML. I don't know.
And what is this called?
It's called, I named it after a Simpsons joke. So it is called React Stonecutter. Stonecutter. Because it's quite similar to an existing thing called masonry. Don't know if you've come across that. I see. So I was like, masonry, Freemasons, stonecutters. Yeah.
I see what you did there.
And I got Amit to make me a logo, which is like the React logo, but with the stonecutter logo in the middle of it, which is like, so that's quite good in the colours. And
can I click a button anywhere on the grid and have it go bum 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 bum?
Well, in the include Easter eggs in this thing.
Well, in the demo version that you can look at, all of the content is the song with the lyrics to the song from the Stonecutters, so you can sing along to that. So I put it up on Sunday, and as of this moment, I have 249 stars. So I'm hoping to get to 250 before the end of the podcast. Come on. Yes.
We do.
So that was kind of fun. News.
Did this come out of work? I'm assuming. Did they let you just like?
No.
I did. That's fine. Put it up.
No, it's a personal project thing. So I've been doing it for like 3 months or something. That's how long.
What's happening to you? This is
that
where
was
your
the thing.
game time should be.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it would have been a lot shorter if I'd been able to work on it actually full time. It probably would have taken like a week or something instead. It's taken bloody ages. Anyway, never mind. Finally, it is done, and I won't be doing any more for a while. Well, maybe I will. It depends if people start using it and being like, "Oh, this is busted. You got to fix it." I'll be like, "Okay." But it was kind of funny because I put it on Reddit, and that seemed to work. Like I put it on the React.js subreddit, and then the next day, somebody on Twitter that ran a channel about, or whatever, a Twitter feed about React, took a video of the demo and put it in a tweet, and then that guy had like 12,000 followers or whatever, and then somebody else had another news feed and retweeted it as well, and I think that's where they mostly came from. So first day was Reddit, and then the second day was Twitter, apparently. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. But now because
should I use it? Is the question.
Oh well,
my next web project that I don't do, but well,
if you did, I mean,
opportunity ever arose.
The thing is, it's a library for React, so you'd have to use React. But yeah, totally.
But React seems cool, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, go for it, man. Give me some pull requests or whatever. I've never had one of those. Or like open an issue or some shit. Yes. Google it. Go forth and Google if you want some kind of fancy grid layout with some stupid animations. And I especially recommend you check out, if you go to the demo, change the stupid enter-exit style to newspaper. Because in the simple style, like when the new item appears, it fades in and it scales from, infinitely small to full size, right? So you get it, right? So it like appears that way. So it scales up and fades in. But you can change that. So I made one stupid one where it goes from being like rotated 720 degrees. So when it comes in, it looks like a stupid spinning newspaper.
Oh, I see.
Like, yeah, exactly. So yeah, check that out if you want dull animations in your projects. And it's also powered by like. So there's two animation modes. One is CSS, normal CSS transitions, but the other is React Motion, which uses like a physical JavaScript simulation of a spring. So you can make it really springy. If you turn down if you turn up the stiffness and turn down the damping, you can make it go boing, 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 boing in a really hilarious manner.
I've seen those. Yes.
Yeah. So yes, fun times. Check it out.
Whoop.
Now, news.
Fucking regular news, lad.
What is going on?
Hey. My turn for a shameless plug. Like I got a retweet from like Radio Sega, and for a second I thought this was like a proper thing, like Sega affiliated, and it's like,
of course not. No. What are you talking about?
No, it's like
Radio
it's
Sega.
It's not even close. It's like a student radio show, but still retweets.
You want to get on I don't remember what that fucking Sonic radio station that I used to listen to over the internet was called. Probably Sonic Radio.
Probably. Well, is it an old Shoutcast thing, or before Shoutcasting became the name for?
Yeah, exactly. It was so old that it was like before anyone had a name for what they were doing.
Yeah.
I used to listen to that all the time in incredibly shitty quality.
It was
through
real
Winamp.
bad. It was a cool idea. Shows like the whole concept of the whole Shoutcast sort of directory, I guess. You could just go into it and go like, what do I listen to? I listen to some metal. Well, here are all the stations that are playing metal right now.
Or in my case, you had the entirety of my radio internet list of That Sonic Show and Eve Radio.
Yeah. Shoutcast. Not what you should call... esports commentators shouldn't be called shoutcasters. That's a stupid name. They're just esports commentators. What is wrong with that?
That's fine.
Why give them a name? They're no different from anyone else. They're just commentators.
They should be commentators.
Yeah, I can't improve on that.
No, because it was that bad.
Oh dear. So shocking.
Or commentators. Put the E at the end.
Narrators? No, you don't really narrate a game, I guess. No, I don't know. React. They're reactors. Game reactors. Esports readers.
We're changing from commentators to just have them be commenters.
Commenters. Commentees.
Commentees. Yes, that's much better. Comment-E.
You're a commenteer. No, you're a commenteer. Like a nunchucketeer. You can be a commenteer.
Really?
You command my comments. Correction's gone.
There we go.
This isn't really a proper correction, by the way. This is a dumb one.
Correction's gone.
We incorrectly stated that the those pictures of the original NX the NX controller, like the ones where you see it on a desk and stuff, that they were photoshopped in place. It's like they weren't.
That's
Someone
what I thought.
3D printed the model.
Yeah, that's why those photoshops were too good.
Well,
they had to be physical objects.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
yeah.
But they probably still had to do some Photoshop on it.
Oh, yeah.
Presumably a 3D printed model wouldn't have looked that good.
No, it would have given them a very good... It would have given the perfect,
lighting.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
In fact, arguably it would have been, I don't know how they did it, but they could have, you could basically 3D print a green screen object. It's like, as long as it's all one solid colour, that gives you a lighting reference but no textures, and then you can just slap the textures on it.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I suppose, perhaps, because you have both the model and the thing, you can use the lighting of the real world, but just, slap a texture on the model you've put in place. Oh, that's interesting, yeah. I do wonder. I kind of want to know how far they went with this. Show us how you did it. Did you live stream that shit?
Well, presumably they didn't live stream, or otherwise everyone would have known it was fake immediately.
Yeah, the creation of hoaxes is almost as interesting as the hoax itself.
Well, except not really. Here's how we make crop circles. You walk around with a plank. Wow.
Mystery solved. Video game journalism news. Defy Media closes more stuff.
Well, yes.
They basically closed one of the major offices for The Escapist.
Right.
The Escapist isn't dying.
Does anyone read The Escapist apart from Zero Punctuation?
No, not anymore, since they culled most of its,
good
noteworthy stuff.
Channels. Yeah.
Yeah. Movie Bob, shout out. He used to be a big player in the Escapist land for me.
Bob.
Still follow his stuff. Screw Attack picked him up to do some of his old shows, but with new names, because, Defy Media like to hold on to the names of shows for some reason, as we're discovering through game trailers and the new Easy Ally stuff. The new Easy Ally stuff isn't bad, by the way. Their podcast follows the same format that it always used to, and the old review style is back. So they did a review of Quantum Break recently. It's worth a watch. Game trailers. Not game trailers, but easy allies. They're still good. Check them out. Everything's fine, guys. Everything's fine. So yeah, that was all I got. I don't know what that means for the Escapists, but yeah, you're right. No one really follows it. Because didn't the Escapists used to like host things? Oh no, Destructoid used to host a Hey Ash, but they used to host the Loading Ready Run guys.
Yeah. The movie
until they moved on to their own thing. And well, I don't know if they got cold or if they decided to leave. I don't know what the situation with them was, but it's been the breeding ground of a lot of important people.
As it were. Not literally, like a lot of important people go there to breed.
Let's say noteworthy people in the video games journalism sphere kind of came from the Escapist. So, Defy being Defy and closing everything but Smosh. Fuck Smosh. Anyway, Call of Duty. We know there's one coming.
There's always a bloody Call of Duty.
Say that without any news applied at all.
No, but it is heavily, heavily rumoured that Infinity Ward are ditching Ghosts. They're not going to make a sequel to Ghosts.
Well, clearly, that one was bad.
Clearly, but they're doubling down on probably the dumbest aspect of Ghosts.
The intelligent fish. Right?
Full-on... No, not the
I'm not going to double down on that.
That was the dumbest.
Finding Nemo or something. But
you know what? The intelligent fish... You know what? The intelligent fish might actually be the crux of this story because they're going full-on sci-fi. In their own words, full-on sci-fi.
Right, like Moonraker.
I say their own words, but the sort of the rumoured phrase to have described it said full-on sci-fi.
We always said that they should.
Yeah,
Should they?
They've been skating the area of that right for years with Black Ops, like Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare were all very close to that, but still they kept it near future, right? So it's like here's where, and in some respects they made it believable in that respect. I'm actually quite excited to see what they do with this if they just let off the rails. I'm still not 100% that the Infinity Ward of today is not necessarily the Infinity Ward of before, but I really hope they go in such a different direction with this.
Well, the question is,
how I want them to go bonkers.
With a sci-fi thing, the two important things are, firstly, do they have anyone there that knows how to write sci-fi?
They're Infinity Ward. They could probably, an Activision, they could probably hire someone.
I mean, that's sure, but they still need to do it.
Yeah.
You can't use the same people who just write Modern Warfare stuff.
No, you're right. I think they'll have to go all in on this. They can't just write a globe-trotting military shooter, but
on a different planet
with lasers.
And that leads into the other problem of you need to make guns that aren't just guns but with lasers coming out of them. Because it's you can't just have here's a machine gun but it just shoots lasers.
But they don't. That's the thing. Like Halo or whatever just uses normal guns, doesn't it, or whatever?
Well, for one team, yeah, sure.
That's what I'm saying. In some respect, the human technology has progressed in a somewhat close to home fashion, right? Other than spaceships and stuff, and how those all function, and maybe the AI side of it, the guns and the weaponry side of it has all stayed fairly grounded, and that makes the humans somewhat relatable, and the aliens alien, right?
Yeah,
they do that very much on purpose.
Sure.
I'm not saying I want to see any of that in Call of Duty. I want them to go all the way. Even Mass Effect, right, stays their guns are using not ammo, but they're still guns, right?
Well, it's because it's just you can still get away with it, assuming you do have alternatives. Not every. It's that's why Halo has the other the Covenant guns, because they're the alternative to the regular boring guns. And, that's why you want them.
Mm.
But you don't just want a gun that's here's the regular boring gun, it's just a really advanced rifle and it still shoots bullets. And then here's the gun that's basically exactly the same, except for it shoots lasers. That's not good enough.
yeah, and in some respects, you're right. Halo has ended up being that to some degree. Because the Covenant always have an equivalent gun now of the humans. They have slightly different properties, but they're effectively an equivalent. And, they've even with the Forerunner equipment.
Well, the Forerunner's case is a bit of a jip because it's just
some of that is weird, but it's still also mostly a counterpart.
But in the Halo universe, you can probably come up with some bullshit explanation, like because the Forerunners invented guns, and then it trickled down into every other race because all guns are basically like these guns.
I guess in theory, the Forerunner knowledge should be somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Well, but then the Forerunner don't necessarily have anything to do with the Covenant. That's not in the lore, right? The Forerunner really.
Well, that's why the Covenant guns are more different.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why the Flood basically get guns at a certain point.
I suppose the only case study we have, right, of this happening before is Titanfall, right?
Right.
The original, original Infinity Ward guys working on a sci-fi game, but they went again that sort of Halo-y direction where humans' evolution has been, guns are still guns.
Yeah,
they're bound to do that for Call of Duty, I reckon, because the Call of Duty fans are just gun nuts, basically.
I don't want them to though. I want them to go. I want them to go time splitters. That kind of stupidity. Right. Bouncing bullet laser guns.
Oh, I totally want to see that.
They probably do that.
But I don't think they're going to do that, which is because they're boring, pretty much. Like someone should.
I mean, I would still say that Titanfall probably, even though it's technically sci-fi, I'd still class it as being closer to near future. Because it's basically not really it's still humans fighting humans even in Titanfall.
Well, the game it was felt most similar to thematically was actually Battlefield 2142 in a way.
Exactly. But that's just near future. Exactly. That's not even sci-fi.
Yeah. Well, it is, but yeah, it's a form of sci-fi.
When does it become sci-fi? Yeah. It's obviously like
it is.
It's not a binary state of becoming sci-fi. Technically, everything in the future is sci-fi, even if it's like 1 year in the future.
Oddly, the more you think about it, there's a weird amount of Battlefield 2142 that is actually, it's kind of done now, right? Like the UAVs and stuff like that, and they're in Battlefield because they're for real. That stuff happened.
We don't get drop pods yet, though.
Yeah, we don't have drop pods, no. And we don't have hover tanks.
Drop pods would be pretty funny.
I'm playing the Final Fantasy Tactics music as I drive around, but. Why did that become a thing? I don't look. Why is it that every time I get in a hover tank in Battlefield 2142, I have to go bum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum?
No, that's not right song. That's from Incoming.
That's the Archers. No, that's
that's from Spaceships from Incoming that made that noise.
Yeah, that is after we modded that. It was dun, da, 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 da.
That was the hover tank song.
That was the hover tank music. Yeah,
for some reason they weren't even that good.
The best thing.
Well, you couldn't even turn the turret. You had to line up your freaking body of the.
It did that because you were hovering.
Yeah, maneuverability and you attacked at the distance, and the maneuverability just
you could strafe.
Won.
That was why. That was why they were better.
Whole tanks kick ass. Cool.
Yeah, they were probably better than the mechs, whatever they were called.
Did they have mechs in?
Yeah, there were mechs, weren't there?
Of course they did. That was the whole point of 2142. The walkers, all the walkers.
Oh, yeah,
shooting the vent.
Yeah, I remember the vents. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Call of Duty will just do that and just put bloody mechs in just to compete with Titanfall?
Of course they will. They've sort of had mechs before.
Well, yeah,
right.
Exactly.
They were kind of in Black Ops 2.
It's basically the next step from exoskeletons, isn't it? You just size it up a bit more, then you're at mechs.
Just have mechs.
I guess. Yeah.
They should do a full-on anime game, which is basically with insane
Oh man, that'd be cool.
It's not gonna. I don't think you can do an anime game and make it as cool as you want it to be, though.
No,
Asura's Wrath.
Exactly. That's the one way you can do it, which is basically to make an anime and then layer a few bits of game on top of it.
Try and slap a little bit of game on it. Yeah.
What was it? Shogun Mobile Armor Division or something. Do you remember that?
Exactly.
Oh boy, yeah.
Or what about Oni? I guess is sort of anime-y a bit from the makers of Halo.
Quite a large portion of games are anime.
Yeah,
almost every JRPG you could argue is anime,
but not in the super cool
Metal
way.
Gear is definitely anime.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why a lot of times when they try and do it, they turn out bad.
Yeah,
you can get away with
Ni no Kuni.
Well,
but you know what I mean. I mean more.
JRPG.
I don't mean anime in general. I mean specifically Ghost in the Shell, ridiculous guns type.
Yeah, exactly.
Valkyria Chronicles. That is one of the most anime.
But the trouble with the whole idea of making the specific kind of anime-ness that Dan's talking about, which also expands to giant robot anime type stuff as well,
the mecha
is
type.
a lot of the time in those kinds of animes is not spent on actual fighting. It's spent on building up to fighting.
No,
What's that?
That's how they
What's
work.
What's that Kojima mech fighting one though? That was PS2 era. That was at one point rumored to be making a comeback, but will obviously never happen now because Konami owned it.
Right. I don't remember much of those games.
That's going to bother me now. It was super famous, and at the time was considered to be quite good. And they had at least 2 of them. Dang. Yeah, that's annoying.
So Call of Duty.
Lost Planet ended with a bloody mech sequence. Like an anime mech sequence.
Well, I don't know if you call that an anime mech sequence, exactly.
Suddenly, your character, I think, suddenly learned how to become a bit like Full Metal Panic or something. He became like a Super Saiyan of the mech, and suddenly turned this mech into something ridiculous, and then had like a flying space fight. It was a properly ridiculous ending to that game.
Well, yeah, but that didn't fit with the rest of the game.
No, it
that
really
was
didn't.
It was done.
It really didn't fit, but that is the most anime ending, right? Animes always end with a fight. It just breaks all the rules of everything that came before.
Well, I don't know.
Arm cannons.
I think
Trigun, say.
Well, I think in that kind of situation, it's not that they break all the rules of the previous thing. It's just like they didn't know what the rules were.
I guess, yeah. They never went to the rules on this level. I guess
it's like they basically there's like they have some kind of it's basically a password. They have a firewall where it's like we can't get through this, so we can't actually exploit the secret Uber technique that we don't know exists. But once we do break it, everything just goes to shit. That tends to be what happens.
Naruto and the Nine-Tailed Fox.
Yeah, exactly. Once you discover the secret technique that's just ridiculously overpowered and destroys the entire planet, then that's when the end. That's the end.
Yeah, except that wasn't the end of Naruto.
No, somehow.
Although I say it wasn't the end, it was like 40 episodes in still. But
yeah, but
that's like one season.
1,500 or something.
Jeez. I really wanted to like Naruto. And then it fell into all the Dragon Ball problems of like dudes standing around talking about backstories for 4 years.
Well, and powering up.
Yeah.
Starting a fight and not actually finishing the fight from like 2 or 3 episodes.
Man, I hate that.
I've been watching nothing like those, but I've been watching Death Note, and there's that there's a meme
about
from
the first
it.
3 of that.
There's like a meme from it where there's an ultra dramatic moment with like super, camera cuts and everything of him like eating a potato chip.
Yeah, sure.
And that is pretty much what the show is like, but it manages to make that shit dramatic, but nothing. It's all like stuff like that, basically. There's no actual big fights or anything, really. It's just like, I am now going to eat a potato chip. Ha ha ha. Well, yeah, that's I have fooled you.
That's all. That's a sort of, obvious comedy maneuver of just like make mundane things dramatic.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do that.
And it succeeds in doing that, which is pretty impressive.
Move the controller up and down to brush your teeth.
That's making a mundane thing equally mundane.
I couldn't think of an example of how that's done in games.
Well, it doesn't happen that often, but it is still a cliche.
Sean! Press square to Sean.
I think you mean Jason.
Well, that's both, isn't it?
Yes, but Jason is the more important one.
Jason! Has a game done that like properly? Like made the mundane funny?
I'm pretty sure it has.
Yeah, I don't know. You suddenly want a change of pace, right, to make something real. Yeah, I don't know. Can't think of a good one. Speaking of Battlefield, as we sort of did,
just about, yeah.
As we vaguely did.
The next Battlefield is also heavily rumored to be slightly different. But not sci-fi, unfortunately. They're
if
not
they
going
did 2142 too, that would be amazing.
43. They did 2143.
Right. Oh yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
I would love that.
That would be cool.
But they're not.
They'll
they're
do
going
it
to World War One. Is the rumor?
That's
which I think could be real.
Yeah, it doesn't actually work.
I think that could be real interesting. Because it reduces the range significantly and makes the combat a little bit more tactical.
But everyone knows that
unless someone got something
that it doesn't work because of the way World War One works.
Yeah,
which is you stand opposite each other in trenches and shoot pointlessly because no one can fucking hear each other, and then you climb over there and then you just die.
But no one will play like that. You'll have your
but that's why it doesn't work, because you can't make a game based on how actual World War One works, and therefore setting a game in World War One makes you have to take all these ridiculous liberties.
Surely this is the one place where planes will fly at the right speed.
That is the one thing that will be true about although, planes were barely used as actual war machines in World War One anyway. They were like scouts.
Look, I think it's safe to say, however it plays, it's not going to be anything like World War One.
They did do strafing, of that fairly quickly.
That's why they can't, it won't, it's like, assuming it's set in World War One, and it's not like weird fake World War One or something, which they could do if they want to. But it's just like, what are the missions of assuming it has a campaign, which it might not.
I kind of don't want it to.
But even then, it's like, what are the maps in a World War One battlefield game?
Yeah,
two lines of trenches.
So how is this rumor got? How much weight has it got to it? Because it sounds unlikely to me.
You're making me having to research outside what little note I wrote.
Okay.
I mean, I played the World War One mod for Battlefield 1942, and that was that worked because it was based in 1942, which was already incredibly slow and impossible to aim.
I kind of want to.
At the very least, the sort of historical war genre, it can make a return.
I think World War II would be great in the Frostbite engine. I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, because they could do awesome effects now that you could in 1942.
Yeah, can you imagine flying a freaking Spitfire or whatever? Or
can you imagine actual dirt physics and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Those explosions would look ridiculous.
It would be awesome. They should definitely do World War II again. It's time. It's been like fucking 10 years or something, longer than that.
Yeah, probably longer.
Yeah.
But I just don't see how World War I could possibly work. It's like in a campaign, it doesn't seem like there'd be missions to do, and in the multiplayer, what the fuck are the maps? I guess technically I don't know the famous battles of World War One as well as I do World War Two, so I don't know if there was some storming a castle or some shit. Well, I don't know.
Well, it's not as much variety, is there? I mean, I guess there's Gallipoli and stuff that happen in Turkey, but the World War II was more worldy in terms of the battlefield. Yeah, I mean,
honestly, if it's battlefield that's just more infantry focused, I'm kind of on board because some of the vehicle stuff I just don't like.
Yeah, but you'll be infantry focused with shitty guns.
Which could make some really funny fights. You just whip out your pistol if you get close, right? Surely it creates more of a balance between not just holding your big gun all the time. You have to shit, this guy's actually really close. I need a slightly faster firing. I don't know if those pistols exist.
Yeah, probably. I mean, surely in World War One, if you're going to whip out a pistol, it'd be like a fucking revolver or something, right? And only if you're an officer.
Yeah, if you're an officer, you would get one, wouldn't you? I think they had automatics. But not.
Yeah, they had some automatics, but not like
the Luger or whatever.
Probably not the kind you want to carry around for long.
And the rifle was like the Lee Enfield, wasn't it? Although I think the rifle was actually the same as the rifle in World War II in terms of the British infantry. Yeah.
So apparently the rumour comes out of a Swiss retailer who accidentally posted a sort of coming soon sort of thing on their site that had the description translating to multiplayer tactical shooter in World War One. And retailers might sometimes have the edge. I guess they need to know what's coming, maybe to plan their marketing. Maybe. These retailer rumors are often quite accurate.
Well,
although some of them are like Amazon, where Amazon literally just jumps onto anything going and puts a listing up. As soon as E3 happened, right, you could pre-order Scalebound.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But that's because Amazon has a whole system in place for guaranteeing prices and shit.
Yeah.
They can get away with it.
Also, Amazon don't care about actually fulfilling your orders.
Well, no.
If you place an order, they can just turn around and say, no.
So, we shall see what happens with this. I mean, I think it'd be interesting if it did happen. I think it's unlikely.
Well, and if it does happen, it doesn't seem like it's going to work very well.
Yeah, I mean, they probably won't go more sci-fi because they've got Battlefront, to do that stuff, I guess.
Sure, because they could just make Battlefront 2, which they go.
Yeah, which they will, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll put a bit more depth into the Star Wars one because it was a bit sort of casual, which I guess was the idea, but maybe they'll have some feedback.
Really, the question is, why haven't they gone back to Vietnam yet? It was nearly a good idea.
It is a good idea, but it was
at this point
not
with
the
the
best
foliage
version
and
of
stuff.
Battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, like you could do jungle so much better now if you look at something like Far Cry 3 or whatever.
Jungle combat's never that fun, right?
Well,
Because
I know what you
trees don't make good map design.
Well, that's the actual reality of the conflict in Vietnam, isn't it?
I know,
Like,
but
fun.
that doesn't make a fun game.
How is it that
No.
much different from like fighting in an urban environment? Really, it's just big things that block line of sight.
Sure, but the big things, the buildings have the effect of being able to direct the flow. Trees are just like little tiny bollards, right?
Well, they could make it dense enough, like to actually. I mean, they could.
I don't know if you could make a whole game
make it
around
dense
that.
enough to avoid.
Well, that's the
not going
thing.
for it.
Like, if you look back to the original Battlefield Vietnam and the war itself, there were like big urban battles, like the Fall of Hue and all of that, and that was a map in the original game.
But that's what I mean. Like, yeah, the urban stuff is fine because that's well-worn territory. But it's because as I say, you're. It's just the foresty stuff. Like, I'm actually kind of interested, having not really played a great deal of Battlefront. Like, how does the Endor map actually function?
Well, apparently it has a big hill in the
Sorry,
middle.
Forest Moon of Endor map.
Oh, you mean the tree?
Yeah.
That was good correction there. Let's get it pedantically right. It's the moon, it's not Endor itself. Do people actually go around correcting people and say it's
Yes,
not Endor?
I've heard this way too often since Battlefront came out, with everyone making sure they say Forest Moon of Endor.
That's really lame.
I mean, they could like the whole having the trees be. You could do something weird with like the idea of a jungle. Like maybe you could make it so like there's pathways that sort of channel you around the map, but you can go through the trees, but just like your movement speed gets severely reduced or something. Like make it so that going through the trees gives you a penalty as well as giving you an advantage of being able to hide.
I guess that's a tricky thing to pull off.
And then,
I mean Titanfall only did trees because it made its trees massive.
Yes,
like it made them super big.
They weren't even trees at that point; they were pillars.
Basically, giant pillars. Yeah. Like,
I mean, obviously, the best thing about Battlefield Vietnam was the helicopters. Clearly, at least for me, anyway, the Hueys were awesome, and
because that was the first time they made a way to control helicopters that was sort of controllable.
the first time helicopters weren't a mod.
Yes, exactly.
That's true. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, their helicopters are much more important in that conflict than any other one since, or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. They were pretty important in 2.
No, I mean in terms of wars.
I see. Sorry.
Yeah,
Literal conflict.
Yeah.
Sure. Are they ever going to fulfill your? Do you remember your old? Was it planet-side dream? Was it Dan of
well, that's
flying a
pretty
dropship?
much. Yeah, I mean that was close enough.
That's what the transport helicopters were meant to do.
I basically wanted to do is like that. Yeah, do that like I did in Battlefield Vietnam, but in a sci-fi setting. So it would have been good if there was at some point there was a large enough scale Halo game where I could fly the bloody Pelican, and which would be the equivalent of flying the Huey in Battlefield Vietnam.
We sort of want those dropships in PlanetSide to be like the spawn buses. So you land them and deploy them, and then they become the spawn bus. So you've done your job, right? And then you don't have to do it again, and then you can join the fight, rather than just being ferry, which...
Yes, but that, by the time you get to PlanetSide 2, that's...
You got close, but they weren't drop pods when they landed, right? You still had to have the drop bus drive there, didn't you?
Yeah, but no one bothers with that. You just jump out. And crash the thing into whatever you're aiming at. Everyone knows that's one, as soon as you have disposable vehicles, as you do in PlanetSide, because they just come out of nanites, get them whenever you need, get to a nanite station, just generate a new one.
Cost you resources in PlanetSide, though. Like personal resources.
Well, yes, but at a certain point, if it's the only vehicle you're making, because you're the one who's qualified to drive it, then That's why you have specialization.
Yeah, PlanetSide 2. I wonder if that's still running.
I'm sure it is.
I reckon it
Did
is.
that PS4 version ever come out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it did.
I think so.
The real question is, did they ever get round to doing the things that they said they were going to do for PlanetSide 2? Or the actual expansions to it that they planned but never, where it's like, we can't do this for release, so it won't have all the features of PlanetSide 1, like the tunnels and where it's like a separate map that goes underground or whatever. Whether they actually got round to porting all that stuff over to PlanetSide 2, and their whole idea of like grand scale battles actually mattering and like continent to continent ship transfer and stuff.
PlanetSide 2 was always it's a bit like Battlefield in some respects. Like I've always kind of had this problem with Battlefield, and that it sounds way better in concept than it does to actually play. There's something about it that's just never quite works, right? PlanetSide 2, like you're storming one of the bigger bases, say, and even if there's quite a lot of players involved, it's like fire can just come from anywhere. There's no like.
I mean, it never worked out.
There's no like good push.
Well, there are sometimes,
but sometimes, but they're so rare. Like often it's like one guy camped out in a hole somewhere, and the other team is just like desperately trying to find him while the other team regroups. And,
that doesn't happen in PlanetSide 2 any longer.
That happened to me quite a lot when I was trying to storm like little bases, not the big ones, the little bases. Right, I'd be in there somewhere, and the other guy, enemy team, would obviously know I was there because I'd obviously made a fuss and then disappeared, without a kill like message coming up, and it's just like. Oh man, there was a lot of hanging around waiting for support, and
that's because that's how that works. It's like when you're there by yourself, you have to hide because that's the only way you can survive.
I know, but it's like even when you have a team, right, and then the rest of your team is like failed or something. Like there's no, that was your push, right? It's done on some of the bases. It's like there's no recovery.
Yeah,
like. Don't get me wrong. There were moments, like especially on the buildings that are a bit more like arcologies in that game, where some of the spawn rooms are badly placed, let's say that much, but the sort of team push felt more consistent, right? It was like almost a game of TF2 at some point, where it's just like, you guys are here, the enemy team are here, this is the direct line of combat, go nuts.
Yeah.
There are moments in that game which are brilliant. It's in some respects, it's like it's the bigger scale stuff that doesn't hang together so well.
But the main problem with PlanetSide, which is the classic problem with all capture point games, is backcapping.
Yeah, backcapping.
Because in PlanetSide 2, it was just it was like you had to be so incredibly thorough to make sure you killed literally everyone inside a base zone, or otherwise, as soon as you left, they'd come out hiding and just camp it back.
Yeah. There's an element that's cool about that level of sort of semi-realism, but then when you put it into a game mechanic, it's super frustrating, actually. Like, was there anything actually stopping a dude just getting in a quad bike and going all the way to the other side of the map and just backcapping from there?
Well, because you could only cap on the front line.
Okay, so there was a front line.
It was linked or whatever.
Okay. That's something.
That used to be how it worked in PlanetSide 1. Yeah. It was much more liberal about you could backcap all kinds of stuff if you were just a stealth guy.
But that map is just so big. The distances between places was enormous.
It doesn't matter, though. Because really what you wanted in PlanetSide was to be able to find one of those fights that stayed for a while. Because then you could actually stay in one place, keep respawning, keep fighting, rather than being in this constantly moving front that's just walking over stuff.
I guess it was bad for people that play like I play. It's probably good for people like you who are quite reserved, I guess is the word. You like the waiting in some respects, the sniping, that style of play, whereas I'm the grunt. Effectively charge in, like go nuts with a machine gun and some grenades and hope I don't die. Like, I'll put myself in the dangerous situations to be like, someone's got to do this. Fuck it, let's go.
Yes, the trouble with PlanetSide then is that
and that's the worst place. That's the worst role to have in PlanetSide.
Well, it's like that role doesn't work unless you're playing with people, because you actually need several people to be doing that.
Yeah, but you don't always. It's an awkward game. It's an awkward game.
You need medics and shit.
Love the concept, but it's awkward. Anyway, sorry, yeah. Sidetrack. Final Fantasy 15 did some stuff. They had their own event for Final Fantasy 15 news. And other than it getting, it's got a new demo which is out and stuff like that, and I haven't really played. It's kind of like a weird backstory segment that I don't know is actually going to be in the game. I think they're calling it the Platinum demo.
Right.
Anyway, it's not like episode Dusky or something which you actually had to pay for. It's like a proper free demo this time. But anyway, that happened. That came out. People still seem quite hype about that game. Like there's the Dusky demo seemed promising, and that game still seems to be doubling down on this whole open world aspect. So maybe that there will be good coming from it. But anyway, some of we didn't really learn a great deal, other than also alongside Final Fantasy 15, the game, it is also getting Final Fantasy 15, the anime series, because I guess of course it is.
Right.
But also Final Fantasy 15, the Square Enix produced CGI film. I guess their video maker team got a bit bored. We were like, look, we need to do something. Oh, just make a film. Make Advent Children again. Oh.
Okay.
So that stuff is happening.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not saying I rate Square's writing in the film domain, but it will be really interesting to see how far their animation has come.
Right,
because if you think when Advent Children came out, they were so far ahead, right, in terms of that style of animation of
at the time, yeah.
Trying to go a bit realistic, but
and they did that one part of the Animatrix or whatever. The Flight of the Osiris thing.
Yeah, same team. Which was at the time mind blowing, really good.
Mm.
So while I doubt they probably have the chops to keep up with modern CGI teams, it's still interesting to see where they are.
Mm.
If it's even the same team, They've always been good at it. The stuff in Final Fantasy 13 wasn't bad.
Have to hold out for 15. See how
that's a particularly good reference point. I wonder if 15 is going down the route of trying to do as much in-game as possible, though.
I'd prefer that, obviously.
Now they've got this separation, they'll probably do as much as they can in-game. I think they also said that, I think it also got a release date, which we didn't know before, and that it's coming out September this year.
Right. Oh, that's good. It's not long.
Yeah. I think after all the sort of somewhat bad... Is bad will, I think? Can you say bad... They built up bad will in the same way that they built up goodwill?
Probably.
Yeah. After not exactly fostering goodwill...
It's like ill will, isn't it?
Ill will, yeah, that works. Having built up some ill will around the 13s... 15, I don't know, 15 needs to be good, I think, for Square.
And they've got their Final Fantasy 7 thing going as well.
Yeah, I mean, to keep Final Fantasy having the same sort of, power that it once did.
I don't think it has since 13, though.
No, that's what I mean. They kind of need, this is like their comeback chance. This is the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 of Final Fantasy.
It probably actually hasn't since 12, really. 12 kind of was where it started going a bit weird and wrong, and then they never recovered, really.
12 was an experiment, but it's reasonably well received. It's not a bad game.
Sure, but it didn't have, when the new things that they tried to do in 12 didn't really work, and then when they were like, okay, 13, we're going to make this slightly more like the original, but then they went, oh, look, too simple. We fucked it up the other way.
Yeah. 13 is a frustrating... They almost didn't go all in a way. It's like some of the concepts are good, but they then ended up backing away from it a little bit, is how that game feels.
Yeah. They didn't really get to extrapolate on the ideas that they had.
No. And then they changed it quite significantly for 13.3, or, Lightning Returns. That's got a different combat system entirely.
Yes, they just don't know what to do with themselves really at this point. Now that they've decided that you can't have active time battle turn-based fights,
yeah,
they've never actually worked out what you can do to replace that.
And both 7 remake and 15 are sort of going in this active battle style,
yeah,
in different ways,
yeah,
but they're still doing it. I kind of hope it's good because there's nothing. As we were saying before, an anime game has a certain charm, right? It has a certain feel to it, and this is Final Fantasy has always been that. And I'm not sure. I didn't really get that same satisfaction from the 13s that I've played. So can we have some more of that? Can we have that Final Fantasy 8 feeling back, please? Because 15 is probably closer to 8, maybe in terms of its setting.
Yeah, I guess.
I've got my iPad now. Maybe I should get Final Fantasy 6. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh no! The version of 6 that the remade version of Final Fantasy 6 is god awful.
Oh, is that bad? Oh shit!
It's a terrible remake.
Okay.
Graphically and stuff. You're better off me somehow next time you're here. I've got a PS1 copy which is of the remake of FF6. You're better off trying to run that in EPSXE.
Right. Okay. Fine. I didn't realize they'd fucked it up so badly.
No. Do not get the remade version.
Okay. What did they do to it?
There's some great blog posts out there that describe all of the terrible art decisions that have been made on that. It's just the original pixel art is just way better. They tried to up-res it all, and it doesn't work. Right. And then they then blended it with some terrible filtering and some terrible some of the tile work looks like they took the original tile, up-resed it without knowing what would be next to it.
Right. Okay.
So the joins don't work.
Right. That's
And then the character sprites are a different resolution to the background, and so then they blur them, and it's terrible. It's terrible.
It's screwed.
Okay. There's some really great posts out there explaining all of that in detail that are worth checking out if you're remotely considering buying that thing. Read that stuff, and you won't buy that thing.
Right.
Nor should you. Conversely, the Final Fantasy 9 remake, apparently, on the channels that's come out, which isn't PC yet, apparently that's pretty damn good.
Well, that's not really a remake, is it?
Well, no, it's not a remake.
It's practically a re-release.
It's basically a re-release, but they've done a pretty good job on it. So
because by the time we got to Final Fantasy 9 after 7 and 8, it was basically stable enough that they could just straight port it, and it would pretty much take.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they've put. I mean, I think that version has higher resolution versions of all the original CG work and stuff like that.
Sure.
So, because presumably they rendered it at a higher resolution than the PlayStation could store.
Yep.
At that point, so
was 9 any good? I don't remember 9.
9's a great one. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I mean, 9's good if you like the old style of Final Fantasy.
It's classic. It's probably more classic than 7 is in its mechanics.
Well, because basically, it is because I guess in 9 you basically have character classes, except not really because it's tied to the actual characters.
It's not like you can change jobs or whatever.
Right.
But they're still quite well defined, and it has it's a somewhat traditional way of the story playing out, and it's it's a little bit predictable in that sense. But it's a very good one of those. In my personal preference, the Final Fantasies actually go 8, 9, 7, right? So it's
right. Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's a good one.
Holy
and obviously,
shit,
it's
16 quid on an iPad. Oh well.
Yeah. Was that for 9 or?
Yeah, for 9. The 6 is 12.
Yeah, but don't.
Yeah, obviously.
But
and 7 obviously is also 12.
Legality aside, emulate the bloody SNES version.
Yeah. Right. Cool.
What else we got? Seriously, news is crap this week, really. It's all rumours and stuff, but Ruse got pulled from the Steam store because the military licenses it had expired, so they're no longer allowed to sell the game.
Okay.
What military licenses did it have?
They didn't say. The news report didn't say what licenses they were that had expired that stopped it from being sold, but
why would they even have military licenses? I mean,
I'm guessing
wasn't Ruse just a generic? It wasn't based on actual wars, was it? I think it was just a generic strategy, here's a situation kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless they license
equipment,
real tanks.
Yeah, it's probably a real M1 or something.
But then, why is that even a thing that needs licensing? Really, I don't know how this would. Unless they license something, you wouldn't have thought old stuff would be that hard to get licenses for.
Then you have to license guns, right? That's why
only if you use the literal guns. Yes.
Yeah. I guess that's the same problem, right? Tanks and helicopters and all that stuff. There's probably you have to license them off whoever built them.
Well, that's their own fault for choosing to do that instead of just making analogs, which is what you should do.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it was just like.
What does World in Conflict do? Because that's fairly close to.
I think that uses real stuff. Yeah,
but then World in Conflict isn't really available anywhere, is it? That's the problem. No. It's like you have to go find an actual disc for that.
But can you not get that on Steam or whatever?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't think because it's Ubisoft, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's on Uplay either.
Yeah, you might be able to get it on Uplay. Who's looked at Uplay ever to see?
Who has actually ever looked at the Uplay store? Like, the only reason I have games that are on Uplay is because my brother is one of the he trolls the internet for those
cheap
keys.
Deals.
Yeah, the cheap deals and the key sites, right? Where it's just like, here's a key. Oh, it's for Uplay.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, World in Conflict had real names of stuff, but at a certain point, it's just like, what is the license for those really? Because it's not like every other goddamn World War shooter ever hasn't used real guns.
Yeah, it's like you can well, maybe they renew the licenses. I don't know.
Well, you're constantly,
or maybe the agreement was just good, right?
Well, yeah, I suppose
maybe Ruse couldn't afford the lifetime license.
Yes, but how much difference could it possibly be when you're talking about a video game where it's just like
when you're making an RTS and you're hedging your bets? Yeah, maybe enough. I don't know.
But you wouldn't have thought they would charge that much difference for it.
Who knows, man?
They should. I wouldn't have thought that anyone who was licensing out the license for a name and style of a weapon or whatever, I can't imagine they would offer anything apart from a lifetime. Why would you think that there'd be a reason to license it for an incredibly short period of time? Because if the license expires and they take down the game, then the person who gave them the license isn't making money any longer either.
The only logic is that, either Ruse was on that tight a budget, and then they sort of go, well, we want realistic stuff, but we can't afford this lifetime license, and then struck a new deal or something to get a crap license.
It just seems weird.
Yeah. That maybe they thought Ubisoft would later, if the game does well, which I'm not sure it did.
No.
They could buy a lifetime license for.
Yeah, I don't see what, surely the easiest license option would just be royalties, right? Because, I mean...
Maybe, yeah.
That's a lifetime thing, and it doesn't automatically accounts for how well things do.
Yeah, it doesn't often... Royalties is always a dangerous way to go, I guess, because it's straight up percentages and...
Yes, but presumably
causing yourself
an incredibly tiny ass percent for the license of a gun.
Maybe. Who knows? Again, that's business, man. It's business.
Well, yeah, but then if the royalties...
All it takes is one guy to get big-headed and be like, oh, you want the Abrams in your game? That's going to cost you.
Well, yeah, and then if 10%. The royalties get too high, then you make the fake Abrams and call it the Ambrams or something.
The Abrahams.
Yeah, exactly. Just that's what they do in Counter-Strike. That's essentially what they avoided doing in Industry Giant 2 or whatever, where you could make all this stuff like radios and electric guitars, and in the history of this item window it talks about the famous brands, but they're not actually the real thing.
Hey, you're just quoting history at that point. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
You just make an info window where it's this tank is exactly like the M1, except it's not called the M1 in this game.
A little bit immersion breaking. Anyway, that happened. It's another case. It's the outrun problem, right? Sega could never acquire Ferrari's license except on timed deals.
But goddammit, why did they not? Just make a red car that looks kind of fancy.
Yeah. It's the main reason why, and it's a real shame because I would quite like to play some Outrun too. I could get my OG Xbox out and set that up and play that version of it, which is the best, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'd quite like a PC version of Outrun 2. It's a good game. But you can't. There was one. You can't buy it anymore. Boo. Licenses. Anyway, and finally, not finally, there's a little bit more. Next to finally, all that Hand of Fate I've been playing and all that stuff. They've announced that I think it's Defiant Games that make it. I think they've announced a sequel that will come out sometime next year. So there will be a Hand of Fate 2, where hopefully they'll spend all of their time making the combat less terrible.
Well, no, hopefully they'll spend 50% of the time making the combat less terrible, 50% of the time making a new set of cards.
Well, yeah.
Because you probably don't want to play that exact game again.
I'm not sure I'd mind. It's like if they just ripped out the combat and put a new one in, and it was the exact same game, that'd probably actually still be fine.
But there's no mystery to it.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, that's why eventually you
It'll be like a special edition.
That's
like
why
Hand of Fate special edition. We fixed things,
It's like that's why eventually it's like Isaac runs out of the field. Once you know what everything does, and you know how to combine, you've mastered the system, and then it's like, okay, I can run this over and over and win every time because I know exactly what's going to happen every time, and then you're done. That's how you run out of the game. So you need new cards in a sequel. You need new events and new situations to get into.
You could kind of write infinite crap for that game, though. Maybe Hand of Fate 2 is sci-fi. There you go.
Yes, exactly. They could easily slap a different theme on it, I guess, because the theme doesn't matter at all.
Hand of Mass effect. Hand of Mass. Yes, that's happening. And also, finally, the video game BAFTAs happened. Happened. With Everybody's Gone to the Rapture being kind of cleaning up.
For some reason.
Because it's the most British of the British games.
That's true, I guess.
I've got to be honest, the BAFTAs are crap, right? Most video game awards, I disagree with. I don't know. I thought that the reception to Everyone's Gone to the Rapture was quite lukewarm.
Yeah, it was.
So
definitely was.
Away with, it's got 3 or 4 BAFTAs out of this. Something.
Well, it's because it was an artistic game, and therefore it naturally,
I guess,
lends itself to dumb artistic awards.
Yes, but perfect. Don't forget. Oh, not Perfect Dark. GoldenEye got one. That's not exactly a artistic game.
It's based on a film that automatically makes it artistic.
I guess. They also gave Best British Developed Game to Batman.
Which one?
Arkham Knight.
There we go.
I'm assuming based off the console.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, not sure about that. Fallout 4 got Best Game outright.
Which is kind of dumb in some ways.
In some ways. Biggest game, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Most game.
Yeah, most game, exactly. It's our reward.
And Rocket League cleaned up quite a few as well.
Yes, in such categories as Best Esports.
Yeah, well, Best Family Game, I think it got as well. Pretty dumb.
No, it wasn't even Best Esports, was it? It was Best Sports.
Hang on, I've got it up.
It managed to get into a sports category alongside games of actual sports like basketball, which is that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, it's car football, sure, but is it really a sport? It's an esport.
Oh yeah, you're right. The other nominations were Dirt Rally and FIFA and Football Manager.
Yes, exactly. Dirt Rally even fit in there. I mean, is rally a sport, I guess, but I mean, you need to broaden your category somewhat. I don't know what to, though. There's no overarching term for I guess it's just simulations, but not even, that doesn't even work, because then Rocket League doesn't fit in that either, because it's not a simulation of anything.
And there's a lot of Her Story stuff in there as well.
Another game that's not actually a game.
It's kind of a film, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a non-linear film, I guess is how you describe Her Story. Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot of videos strung together in a shell of some kind.
And that's all I got for news.
Good.
It was a terrible couple of weeks for news. Nothing really happened.
What's going on in the world of video games?
I suppose we could, apart from, I guess, the cat making noise with some bit of paper.
Yeah, the cat's going to come in here and be annoying.
Can you move? Oh, God, I'm going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, you are.
VR happened.
Yeah, sort of.
Talk about that.
2/3 of VR happened, I guess.
What's going on with... So there's Dark Souls 3 came out. There's this Overwatch thing going on.
Well, there was Buttgate.
The
We could talk
Buttgate.
about
Yeah.
Buttgate.
Yeah,
I kind of
talk about.
Did you see the
purposely
short
avoided
about? It was quite good. I thought with the, what's his name, Winston. She doesn't appear.
No,
in
I
that
haven't.
until the
I
end.
heard it happened, but yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen the new proper animation.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. Well, it is Blizzard animation, and they are pretty much, doing their kind of take on sort of TF2-ish, I suppose. But it's not the comedy in the same way. It's a bit more. I don't know what the comparison is there, but clearly the game.
Probably quite. I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but I would guess it's probably quite similar to Monday Night Combat's style.
Yeah, it's a bit more that way.
It's not quite as chintzy, I guess, but it's not quite
Well,
so.
no. Monday
Yeah.
Night Combat was quite a tiny ass thing.
It was pure cheese.
And there's a
That's what Monday
Doom.
Night-
There's a beta for Doom. Is that right? So that's going on.
Yeah, that's probably happening right now.
So that as in.
I saw a very brief, some video that I was just passing by, and I saw 5 seconds of, and it was like it was a first-person shooter, and I was like, "Wait, is that Unreal? Oh no, wait, that's Doom."
Yep. It's Doom.
They were playing a multiplayer Doom map, and I was like, "Well, that's weird."
I've
Yep.
seen some stuff about
the
people
future.
saying the Doom multiplayer is quite a lot like Halo's multiplayer right
It looks
now.
like
and I'm
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks kind of cool.
It's like it because it's a modern-ish looking multiplayer shooter.
I guess.
Exactly.
Fast, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. But never know. Could be good. What else
I'm
going
really
on?
Kind of not hyped about Doom. Nothing
Well,
about that. There's
It's
something
an
about
arena
it.
shooter from id Software, I guess. So
I know. There's,
Well,
just,
that's not-
there's just something about it that just isn't.
That's not the bit that anyone should care about for Doom. The whole point of Doom is the campaign, right?
right, I suppose
The
so.
multiplayer should be the tacked on bit in Doom, not the other way around, like Battlefield.
Yeah, but it's not
Well,
like they're
you
going to
could
do
argue- you
Quake.
could
So
You could argue Doom invented the multiplayer shooter.
Yes, but that doesn't make it good at it necessarily.
but maybe now it will be. Who knows? Yeah, give it
For
a
a
try.
while, it was the only one. It was the best.
Also doesn't make it.
It looks like Dark Souls 3 is good. I don't know how they pump out these games so fast.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, but apparently this is like, gold star, 5-star situation.
Yeah, there's a lot of because a lot of people think that Dark Souls 2 wasn't exactly that.
Yeah,
It was
so this
good,
is like
but
supposed to
didn't
be
quite
returned
capture
to
the spirit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this fixes that apparently. So it's and so what was the in betweeny thing that the guy made that was a bit more in the spirit?
Bloodborne.
Yeah. So this is but it's
It,
proper Dark
it
Souls.
just takes the lessons learned from Bloodborne.
Exactly, but applies it to the shield style combat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Aren't people bored of these? I don't
well,
know.
that's
Are
just
we
it, isn't it?
going to have the Dark Souls fatigue?
Well, it
I
seems
think
like-
this is it.
like-
I think this is the end of it.
Yeah, it seems like you can't. I think the trouble with it is just surely the design aspects of it just run out. It's like medieval castles can only go so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, apparently that stuff is pretty because it's some areas of the previous games, but a different time period or whatever. And apparently they kind of nailed that kind of stuff. It's like the environments are better or even better for the same parts or whatever.
I suppose they've got a generation jump to since Dark Souls 2. So
I guess so. Yeah.
there's some obvious improvements they can make, but
Yeah. But still pretty cool.
still
You
not a
never know.
game I'm really even remotely fussed about. None of those sound like my kind of. I don't have the patience. I get them, and I understand why they're good,
Yeah.
but just not for me. Then again, I need to stop saying things like that because I played Alien and liked it, right?
Yeah, that's
not
true.
That's not a reason for that, though.
It doesn't necessarily mean I like the sound of it or I think I'm going to gel with it, but then I gelled with Alien and I didn't think I was at all. Yeah. What's the deal with Arsgate? That they just didn't like the pose for some reason?
It's just a particularly...
So there's all the tits and
It's not
ass
really
and violence in video games, and it's just, as my brother correctly pointed out, there's all this hyper-violence in video games these days. There is Doom, for instance. That thing exists.
Yeah.
And yet, for some reason, everyone was up in arms about someone just turning their back to us?
It was
But it's
pretty
not
much
even-
ass in face.
It's not
It
even
was a
the
ridiculous
pose that's
pose.
the problem. It's the costume at that point. Surely.
Yeah, it was the costume
guess,
thing as well.
yeah.
It was it was pretty. I mean, but she's a really sexualized character, which is fine or whatever. It was just so
She's
blatant.
like the only one. Oh, no, actually, quite a few of the Blizzard characters are, aren't they? I was about to say, but she's the only one in that. Oh, no, wait.
Yeah. Anyway, it's fine. I mean, they sort of fixed it, so there's a new pose, and you can still see her butt in it, but it's just less stupid. The main thing about her is she's got this ridiculous Cockney accent. That's what's funny about her.
Yeah, there is
this
that
ludicrous accent, which is hilarious.
I saw the pose and I didn't get it. I don't see what the big deal was.
No, like, it's not really a big deal.
It wasn't. Yeah,
it wasn't nearly as bad as other things that have happened along the same lines.
I mean, in some respects, fair play to Blizzard to reacting to it, which then started the whole conversation of should they have reacted to it? Is this like them censoring their own vision? And it's like, you know what? In the context of this game, I really don't think that matters.
All it does is just
the context of this game, like, no, that is not important at all.
All it does is just lead directly into all the same arguments over again, where it's just like as soon as you make a change like that, it's like, well, what about all the male characters? Are they too over-sexualized? Oh my god, we have to scrutinize every single animation and pose you do, just in case.
Take their muscles down a notch, please.
It's just dumb. And it was completely unnecessary to change because it wasn't even as bad as it could have been.
Are they topless with a giant beard and are they called Hot Ryu?
Yes, exactly.
Right, enough news.
It's like is it less bad than Dead or Alive Extreme 3? No,
I wouldn't use that as your standard of like what's acceptable.
No.
Anyway, yeah.
No.
Right.
Yeah, some gameplay of that has come out, hasn't it? Yeah. That's one of those games.
Gameplay, if you can call it gameplay.
Yeah, I know. What? They're not. I don't know what they are. They're just weird things. I guess we should probably actually talk about VR, right? Like in the.
All right, fine.
And I guess we like so. I don't really want to say a great deal on it, other than where things landed between Oculus and Vive. It seems like Oculus is the better developed headset in terms of like comfort and everyday use, potentially. Like it,
I don't know, maybe.
Like the impressions, like I've read quite a lot of long-term impressions. Like the thing is built a bit better. The inbuilt headphones are quite good. The way it straps to your head feels a little bit more solid than the Vive, whereas the Vive is actually just technologically ahead.
Better, yeah. It's got a wider field of view and the camera shit and all of that.
Yeah, so some people said that the screen is actually just that little bit better, or the optics work a little bit better in general.
Yeah.
But the strap seems to be the thing that everyone has the biggest, like in terms of just the headset, ignoring the whole cord and the whole room requirement thing of the Vive. Like room the actual scale. Strapped. Yeah, room scale, that's the word. And the chaperone. Room scale and the chaperone. That's a great band name.
What's the chaperone?
The chaperone is the in-world thing where it tells you when you're getting close to a wall.
Oh, cool.
And it'll put like an in-game barrier, like a grid of a barrier on the screen.
That's kind of cool.
The chaperone. Basically the strap holding it to your head seems to be what, the actual sort of how you fit it to your face seems to be one of the bigger issues of the Vive.
Mm.
In terms of the actual headset build. So yeah, that's where they all landed. And, makes the price area somewhat justified, yada, yada, yada. They seem to be spec'd for what they are, priced for what they are, whatever way around I meant to say that. But the games do just all look like mini-game collections. And I was actually surprised by the price of a lot of them.
Right, yeah.
I was looking at things like, was it Tilt Brush? Just basically just... Do you remember? Right, you probably won't know this, Dan. But do you remember, Zach, when we used to watch the odd episode of X Factor, and for a while, Talk did make one of those light pen pictures or something. Tilt Brush is basically just that in VR.
I mean, it's an obvious thing,
and it's like £23.
I don't think that's that bad.
But that's all it is. It's a tech demo.
Yeah, but that's it's basically meant to be a 3D art program at some point. And it's maybe a first-generation 3D art program. Might not have that many features or options or abilities. But
if it was £23 for a lifetime license to that, then fine. But that shit was free on Connect.
Yeah, that's the thing about this. This isn't subsidized by, well, maybe it is with Facebook or whatever. But I don't know. I think these things.
Oh, that's Vive. That's Vive, by the way. It's not Oculus.
Oh yeah, okay, Oculus.
Related.
But either way, I think these games or whatever they are, minigame collection things, they're probably selling for like what they cost, to make or whatever, or
Maybe,
tiny bit more, and because they know
the R&D needed to get up to speed would have been higher, right?
Yeah, and they know they're not going to sell tons of units or whatever, like a proper game where you can make money in different ways or whatever. So they're not going to have that kind of, what do you call it, economy of scale type business of a big game.
Sure.
So, and they know that the people that are buying these headsets do have disposable income or whatever. I know it's a bit of a rip-off, but these people, these early adopters are going to pay. I don't think they're necessarily ripping them off, but I think they're charging them more than the average user would, the average consumer would spend, and I don't think it's that bad, because I don't think
it is early adopteritis, right? That they can charge that much because they can. The consumers don't have a choice at this point,
and I think they sort of have to charge that much just because to recoup the kind of investment in the development or whatever, because they can't do the same thing as a normal game.
That should never be a reason, right? If your product's good enough, it should take off, and you'll make money that way.
Yeah, but you can't, because there just isn't the install base or whatever. So that won't work. If it was the best game ever, it wouldn't make as much money as Grand Theft Auto, because everyone would have to buy an Oculus or whatever.
To a point, but the whole point is to get VR off the ground.
Yeah, that's true.
And I know the developers aren't necessarily on that same page to some extent, right? But it is tricky. You don't want to come in too high. And to me, at the moment, I think these things are too high.
Fair enough, yeah.
Like these demos and these collections and that don't have a great deal of content are coming in too high. Don't get me wrong, there are some legitimate titles in there that actually look pretty good, right? People have been saying pretty good things about, was it Contraption Maker or Fantastic Contraption? Well, the thing that has contraption in the name, that seems to actually be one of the more legit games in VR right now. And Adrift is pretty good, apart from when it, takes control away from you and stuff like that. They say that's pretty good. Obviously, it's going to take time, but for now, don't charge like 30 quid for your demos, please. For your tech demos. I saw that and thought, this is off-putting.
Yeah, fair enough. Definitely. Well, I certainly wouldn't spend.
For someone who doesn't have a headset, and someone who isn't buying into it, I saw that and thought, nope, you're not selling me.
Yep.
Any more?
Nope.
All right. News over.
What you been playing? Who's going first this week? Rob always complains that he doesn't go first.
No, you did. In fairness, you did me first last time.
Okay.
And the problem is like, in some ways, for like a show flow perspective, I do all the talking for news, right? And so maybe you need to go to yourself or Zach, straight after.
Fair enough. Well, I can do myself quite quickly. Did I say I finished?
Do yourself.
Do myself. I finished Firewatch or whatever. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, that was good.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I recommend it. I mean, the ending kind of divides people, I gather, and because it's kind of a bit of an anticlimax, but I think that actually suited it really well and worked nicely for me.
Is it like a mundanity thing, like that works given what that game is? Yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
And it's quite a nice kind of melancholy ending, so it's good. Well, I guess maybe depending on how your choices, it might even be a bit different. But anyway, cool. So recommend that, and I don't know, carried on playing a bit of Burnout. That's cool. No, I can't really report on. I just haven't played Burnout for so long, but I'm not getting bored of repetitiveness of it yet, but I'm sure I probably will. That's the problem with it, right? But
I think I got far enough in it to get like the biggest license, and that was where I peeled off.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying how
it doesn't really have an end game, right? You can do everything in the world, but it's kind of up to you.
Yeah, I guess.
I think there might be a credit sequence when you get the best license, but that doesn't mean you're done. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. What else? Jet Set Radio briefly. Yeah, I wish Future was on. They should put Future on PC. That would be cool.
Man, everyone wants
I'll just
game.
make a bloody Jet Set Radio game. I mean, come on, Sega. Yeah, I'm sure.
The thing is, like, I check in with various emulation communities every now and then, like, just to see what's happening on them. And like, anything that always, with any statement that is ever made on the OG Xbox emulation scene, any progress that's made, the question is always asked, so how's Jet Set Radio Future coming along?
Yeah, that's all anyone cares about.
In the emulation scene, everyone just wants Jet Set Radio Future. It's like, that's the thing. And it's like Sega should just sidestep this, right? And just get straight to it and be all like, oh yeah, we released a PC version of it. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, they did it out of nowhere with the original game, so I'm sure
the original.
Probably one day they will.
I would buy it.
Yeah, well, obviously. I mean,
Jet Set Radio,
I actually got Jet Set Radio for free. It was free on Steam at one point. Yeah. I can't remember what the deal was, but it was totally free.
No, actually, maybe I didn't buy it. Was that part of the... Sega had a weird weekend where some competition or something was going on, and if enough...
Right.
If enough support of certain... there were tiers of rewards, and maybe Jet Set Radio was part of that. Maybe I didn't buy it.
I'm pretty sure I got it for free somehow, which is very unusual. It was just like, log into Steam now and get Jet Set Radio. It's free for like a day. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Sega put a few things up. I think Hell Yeah was in that tier as well.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe if you have that, we'll know. I already had a copy of that, so I can't. And also, I think Golden Axe in the Mega Drive Classics was in that pack as well. Not sure if they ever reached the other tiers. There were other tiers of rewards, but I'm not sure they ever got there.
Speaking of Sega releases, I saw while I was browsing. This isn't really anything I played, and it's not really news either. But while I was browsing around the 3DS store, I saw they Mario and Sonic at the Rio Olympics is coming.
Yeah, we talked about that before when you didn't want to hear about the Nintendo Direct.
Yes, exactly. But while I was there in the store, I was like, oh, okay, let's watch this video and see how ridiculous bullshit it is.
Sure.
Naturally. So I watched it, and then once I finished watching it, I suddenly had the realization that, I think I already knew this, I just came to the realization again, but it's just like, wait a minute, those aren't the Sonic Boom designs of the Sonic characters.
No, right.
They're still the old ones. But then when I thought about it even more, it was doubly weird, because, so you have... For some reason, you have these two. You have the Mario team and the Sonic team, right? But that also includes villains as well. So you've got Eggman and Bowser, mixed in there. And then, on the Sonic side, you've got some of the bad guys from Lost World, those generic bad guys that they made up for that game.
Whatever that. Oh,
yeah, those guys,
the Sinister Six or something.
Yeah, whatever the fuck they were called.
Man, yeah, it had an alliterative name and a number.
Naturally. But, so it's some of them are there. And it's okay, now you're stretching. But then I realised that one of the other Sonic characters is fucking Styx the Badger.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wait, that is from Sonic Boom.
Yeah, that is Boom. So
they haven't got the Sonic Boom designs for the main characters, but they do have something from Sonic Boom. So it's this game has been probably in development for a long time, relatively speaking, and it's also barely a real Sonic game in any case. And it's clearly not canon in any way. But it's just is Sega just going to realise that Sonic Boom is a big mistake and just get rid of all that? Apart from the new characters that they can steal and convert to normal Sonic.
I think we've talked about this before, but the weird thing is that the Boom cartoon has done pretty well for itself.
But the cartoon can be separate. Yeah. They can still keep that style for the cartoon.
Well, it's not like Sega have never done a spin-off cartoon that is nothing like any other universe before.
Yeah, exactly. A weird, different style.
Yeah.
But is this the first indication that Sonic's just going to go back to normal?
I don't have a problem with the design of the characters. Wasn't the problem with Boom? I have it's a little.
I think the design problem was slightly a problem.
Well, yeah, okay, Royd's Knuckles,
exactly.
He
was the worst.
Definitely annoyed people, but even though it's almost more appropriate for his character, but
except it was only appropriate for the weird new character they created in Sonic Boom.
Yeah, well, they made him even dumber.
Yeah. He was never that dumb.
No, he was pretty dumb.
He was easily fooled. That was it.
Yes, he is ultra gullible. That's his character trait.
So yeah, maybe get rid of get rid of dumb Sonic Boom, except for apparently we can't have enough Sonic characters, so we still have to have characters from Sonic Boom.
I think, like, the sort of semi-classic Sonic design is the one that's most recognisable, right? And this is a mascot game.
Yeah.
So you throw in the mascots as they're most recognisable.
Sure.
It's like why like Denim Mario hasn't become the normal, right? He's always just like his outfit is always just blue.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily.
Despite the fact Denim Mario is cool.
That's not necessarily because that wasn't recognisable as Mario, though, or like it was a weird design. Because it wasn't even a weird.
Sonic's still recognisable as Sonic in his Boom form.
Yeah, but
still Sonic.
The design was weird, whereas the Denim Mario was just basically a better texture on an exactly the same as usual Mario.
I guess. I mean, Sonic's just wearing hand wraps now.
Except not. He's like all weird and lanky, and the eyes are different in weird ways.
They've done lanky before, though. Don't forget, like lanky Sonic was like Sonic 06 as well.
Yeah,
and actually, to some extent,
anything to Sonic 06?
To some extent, Sonic Adventure 2's version of Sonic is quite weird looking.
Not that unusual.
It's quite weird looking.
I mean, he got slightly lankier than Sonic Adventure 1, I guess.
Yes. Very much so.
Well, I would have said that was like a bad design for Sonic.
No, actually, a lot of it is because like they tried doing some stuff with mouths that didn't really work in Sonic Adventure 2. The mouth animation is really bizarre.
Wasn't that just a translation thing, though?
No.
They didn't bother reanimating the mouths.
There's definitely timing issues, but it's because it's like central and like square. It's like it's kind of strange.
I don't think it was that strange.
It's a bit strange. It doesn't look as bad on some of the other characters. Sonic's is always. Anyway, yeah, not Boom in Rio.
Yeah, and apparently Lost World in Rio, but also characters from Sonic Boom as well. It's just like make your mind up.
I think Sega would be advised to drop Boom as a game, but maybe keep it as a cartoon.
Yeah, sure.
I think they'd be fine.
But I don't.
It depends how well the cartoon is done and whether or not they think that the license is savable, and then they'll try and put out another Boom game, but make it a Sonic game.
Well, that's risky though. I don't think you can even bother attaching Boom. The name Sonic game names don't have any. There's no series apart from Adventure 1 and 2. It's like you don't need
Rush Adventure.
Okay, sure, but that's like a handheld. That's a different thing. That's like an old school Sonic game.
1, 2, 3, and Knuckles.
That's just numbers. That's not. You don't need Sonic Boom 1 and 2.
It's the original series.
You can just be Sonic another dumb name. Just like they had Sonic Lost World and so on.
It's the original trilogy and a half.
Like, yeah, they don't need to make a Boom 2. They can just stick any other word on there. I mean, it's kind of a shame they wasted Sonic Boom on a shit game.
It's like Drift. The Game Gear driving games. They had a series of like 2 games.
Because, Sonic Boom is a thing, but they wasted it. How it hadn't been a game up to this point is the real question. What were they doing? It was real obvious.
What, the name Sonic Boom?
2.
Yeah.
You could do like.
I mean, they used it in that song at the start of
the
Sonic CD.
Sonic Boom. Sonic CD too. Do time travel.
Well, that would make even less sense because it's not on the CD anymore.
Sonic.
Sonic DVD. Sonic Blu-ray.
Sonic Blu-ray. Yeah. Sonic DLC.
But yeah, they don't. I don't know why they felt the need to. I don't know why they. I mean, again, this is like a ridiculous spin-off that's in no way canon in any way, and probably Sega don't give a shit about it.
Nor should we.
But like, why would you bother even bringing back any of the characters from those other games into a Sonic universe where you already have so many fucking characters?
They brought the birds from Sonic Riders back.
Sure, yeah, that too. I mean, they're at least decent characters,
right.
Even if they're like not developed in any way.
They're generic.
Yeah. They're just generic Sonic characters in a world full of far too many Sonic characters.
We hadn't had birds with attitude though before.
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess they filled like the punky attitude role of the Sonic universe because there wasn't really, apart from Sonic, there wasn't really that much of that.
And they sort of already fly, so hoverboards.
That didn't make very much sense. But yeah, it's just like. If you want to,
they made 2 of those. They made 2 rider games.
No, they made 1, and then they tried to make one.
And then they made 3.
Okay, yeah, they technically made 3.
Although, let's not count Free Ride.
No, exactly. That doesn't count as a game because it didn't actually function.
No.
You couldn't play it. So it's not a game. So yeah, that was weird. Sonic.
Okay.
God damn it, Sonic, just get good again.
Get good, man.
Oh wait, hang on, I've changed my mind. They can make Sonic series that have numbers, providing the next one is Generations 2.
Damn right they can.
There you go. Now you can have the same name again.
Here's the thing, though. Generations 2 would be awesome, but do you really want them to retread the bits of games they didn't tread in Generations 1?
Yes,
because that's what that is.
Because they failed to tread some quite good parts in Generation 1.
Sure, but
their selection of levels was only adequate.
And they didn't really double down on their whole DLC thing. They said they made a big deal of like, yeah, we've built the game for DLC, and then made a pinball.
Yep.
It
was bad. I mean, seriously, if you're going to make a game with a
Sonic 4, that's technically a series.
Yeah. But too far, really. Yeah, if you're going to make a game which allows you to reuse those ideas, but it's like you make an engine and then you're basically making exactly the same level style. It's like probably the tools you use to make a Generations level is just like you might as well be making it with white blank canvas like polygons, and then you just map a texture onto it. That's pretty much all you have to do to make a Sonic Generations, and like one set piece that's slightly different. You could make every single Sonic level ever in Generations.
Probably good.
Wouldn't be that much effort, theoretically, because you've already made the actual gameplay part. I mean, they would be as impressive, probably, I guess, to just make the same thing over and over. That's why the set pieces were important. You had to have the chemical plant pipes and...
It's already pulled in, like, the more famous stuff.
But not really.
Come on,
Sky Sanctuary. You could pick fucking any other level from...
Sky Sanctuary was a good level, though.
It was a good level, but it wasn't the most iconic level of that series.
What would you have had, like Mushroom Hill or Flying Battery? Or
like, Flying Battery would have been rad.
Yeah, that would be cool. But there isn't really a level like that. They didn't really do one of the
mechanical levels.
Yeah. I suppose Planet Wisp gets closest.
I mean, that was the other problem, where it was like you had too many levels that were like Green Hill. You had Green Hill, you had Sky Sanctuary, you had Planet Wisp. It was like all these like open land.
They did Spagonia, and they could have done the Greek level.
Yes, but they did Spagonia and City Escape, and it's just like, come on.
They're quite different.
But it's basically a town. Yeah, choose some of the more weird.
But they had to do Spagonia because Spagonia was the one that showed off Hedgehog.
One good level of
yeah. No, there's a lot of good levels in Unleashed, but that one is probably the best. Yeah.
God damn it, Sonic.
Sonic. We got sidetracked.
Yeah.
So how did you finding Jet Set Radio the original? Because you didn't play the original.
Well, it's like no, I didn't. So it's like Future, but much more awkward. Basically. Yeah. So I don't know. I probably won't carry on with it, but I was surprised how the visual style
it's not very long.
Like music and everything is pretty much the same, or like a lot of it is there. I probably will carry on
finish it because it's not very long.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Actually, that was one of the more like disappointing things about the game when I picked it up back in the Dreamcast age. It was just like, oh wow, okay, no, I'm actually done.
Right.
This is over.
But like, Future was not bad in terms of length.
No, Future had a good length. Yeah.
Yeah, Future was pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. No, let's move on to. We should have Zach for sure. What have you been playing, man?
Okay.
Not Sonic.
No, I haven't been playing that much of interest. Yeah, not Sonic. My fucking Steam partition was full again because Dirt Rally updated it. It needed 17 gigs of space.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Did they actually add 17 gigs?
That was what I was thinking because it's like that can't be a 17 gig addition.
Because I read the patch notes and it's basically like they added telemetry
and a few cars.
It's
Did like replace the binaries or something? Like replace.
Yeah, I was like, that can't be actually plus 17 gigs. It must just be.
It's because they brought it in line with the console version.
Yeah, that must be it.
I guess they did add Pikes Peak full gravel.
So maybe that's it. Right?
Yeah, that could be quite a few gigs there.
17?
Well, don't know about 17. It could be quite a few. And I guess they also did add, like, actually quite a few cars, because there's the whole new 2 different classes of rallycross cars.
Oh, is there?
Because it adds a progression to rallycross now, so you don't just have to buy into the most expensive ones.
I've still never done rallycross or pipe or hill climb in that game.
No, barely have. So yeah, my Steam partition was full because of that. Well, no, before that, there wasn't 17 gigs free, so I couldn't install that patch, which was really awkward because that was the exact moment I wanted to play Dirt Rally. Because I've been trying to do the Giant Bomb Dirt Rally League, and as always, I left it until the last day before the league ticked over, and I was like, okay, it's Wednesday, it's my Dirt Rally day, let's go in. And it was like, oh, Dirt Rally needs to update. Shit. So that was inconvenient timing for me, but I managed to. So I came to the same point of Sonic where it's just like, I looked down my Steam list, went, where the fuck is all my space going?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing here that seems big. And then I was like, well, I could move Sonic Generations into backup because that's 10 gigs. But what if I want to play Sonic Generations? Because it's such a convenient game to play.
I do. I haven't touched it in quite a long while, but it's still on my hard disk just for that moment where I need a Sonic fix.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like the DS games where it's just like you just slap them in and run for a level when you feel the need. It's just...
I'd be quite happy to just go play Sonic 1, right, and play Green Hill Zone, and there you go. I'd just play through that zone, and it's like, I've got my Sonic fix. I
don't know, that might not be enough. Just Green Hill Zone. It's like, it's like 30 seconds in some cases.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the original Green Hill Zone is so good, though.
So yeah, I didn't delete Sonic, but I came close. Mainly because I was just like, where the fuck are the big files? I couldn't work it out because it's like there's 200 gigs in there. Actually, there's only 175 because of the way Steam has a whole bunch of other crap, and there's like my fucking Fallout and Skyrim mods occupy a different folder in that position.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So I was like, 175 gigs, where's all this going? So in the end, I just had to fucking move Just Cause 3 off there because I couldn't find anything that was big enough to free up 17 gigs.
Uninstall games. Do what I do.
But that's what I was doing, essentially. There's nothing on my list.
Wait. Did you check your Origin? Because you've probably still got the Battlefields installed.
Origin's all a separate petition.
Oh, okay.
It's my Steam petition. All that's on there is Steam.
All right.
And I was like, there's nothing in here that's actually big. There's Just Cause 3, which was easily the biggest, because that's like 50 gigs, of course. And then it was like, well, there's TF2, I guess. That's 20 gigs, but I'm never going to delete that.
20 gigs isn't that big, actually.
No,
nowadays.
Exactly. And then there's like Sonic Generations is 10, and what? That's like it. That's all the big games that I really have installed.
Huh.
I guess there's, I think Fallout 4 was still installed, so that's probably the other big one.
Oh yeah, that must be massive.
That's probably not as big as Just Cause 3, I wouldn't have thought.
I don't know.
Similar, but probably not as big.
Way more audio.
Yes, but not as much detail, somehow. So yeah, I didn't play that. I played Dirt Rally, so yeah, I did that. It was a fun time because they've now started a multi-week season, so it's actually going to carry over the points.
Oh, I see.
Because they were all individual before. So then the first week of this was the fun times of rear-wheel drive Group B cars on Sweden and Monaco. Get ready for snow.
Ugh, that sounds the worst.
It was pretty difficult, although I eventually discovered a technique which was to only use about a third of the throttle.
Right.
It's like, so somehow I was still setting the best time on Sweden using 1/3 throttle, which I guess goes to show, look, like, right, you avoid spinning out top times.
Yeah. Just drive careful.
It worked pretty well. But then I fucked my times up once I got to Monaco, because as soon as I reached Monaco, I was like, well, now I can push it a bit more right, and it's like, nope, sure can't. Mainly because it was a Monaco stage where it was snowing, which is basically the equivalent of rain. It makes it much less grippy, and I hadn't fully adjusted for that. So I was like, well, I've fucked up my times now. But then when I got to the last 2 stations of Monaco, I was like, oh, I've worked it out again, 2/3 throttle. Group B rear-wheel drive isn't as bad as it sounds, as it turns out. They're not as ridiculous to drive as you think. So I did
Yeah,
that.
I don't know about that.
Well, they don't seem to be as like prone to spinning out as the normal rear-wheel drive cars, like the 70s ones. Like
Oh,
you can put a lot more power down a lot quicker without the rear just going out as quickly in the Group Bs, which is kind of weird.
Maybe they've got, because they've got so much more power, the wheels just spin. Like
maybe. I mean, you have to be careful. You have to like pull up the power slowly on the looser surfaces. You have to account for it and everything. But they don't seem to be quite as easy to spin. And at some points I was even using handbrakes on turns in the Group B rear-wheel drives, and it was still working. Which normally, if you try that in the 70s, that will just fuck you right up.
Just spin out proper.
That freaking 70s Lancia Stratos is just ludicrous.
Yep. Oh, I also noticed that the car that they added in that patch to the 60s is a rear-wheel drive. So the 60s is no longer all front-wheel drive.
Huh. That's interesting.
Kind of weird. I would have thought they would have kept it like that to make it like, because front-wheel drive is the sort of easier starting. Easier than rear-wheel drive, anyway.
I don't think I should go back to dirt rally, mainly to see if now that the patch notes sound like 1.1 is actually sort of semi-final.
Yeah,
like they're not making it sound like they're going to be doing much, if any, more work on the game.
Yeah.
That whether or not they actually got around to fixing like my wheel, or whether like my sidewinder.
Well, your mystery problem that I don't have, even though we use the same wheel.
Yeah. Well, again, the Windows 7, Windows 10 difference must be the thing. Right?
Yeah, presumably.
The driver just doesn't work so good in 10.
But yeah, if it's a driver problem, then it's not going to be fixed.
And there's no solution. Yeah. But I might give it another go just for that. See if it's all right, and maybe buy a rallycross car
if you can afford it.
Probably can.
Decent dailies. Yeah.
Seems right. I think I sort of fell off that game. I don't know. It's like
because you didn't really get into it, because you were holding it. You were holding it back because you were worried about things changing.
Well, yeah, but then it came out, and we did the Happy Salad League for a bit, and
that was even before it. Well,
no, that was after launch.
Yeah, just barely.
I don't know. I'm just not a massive fan of most of the courses. Like, I don't know, they're just a little bit too awkward, a little bit too.
That's the point.
I know, but it's just that doesn't make it that fun.
I was also annoyed when normally after I'd done the giant bomb thing, I'm like, I'll do the daily as well, so I could at least earn some money, because obviously don't get any money from participating in the player run league.
Sure, yeah.
So I was like, I might as well just do the daily so I could just put a little bit of money into my account. But the daily on this last one was Pikes Peak, but you have to do 2 runs.
Right, so it's quite a long one.
Yeah, so it's like, well, this is another half an hour I'm playing because I've got to do Pikes Peak twice, which kind of sucks. I only want dailies that are short stages. 1 short stage. That would be sufficient.
Yeah, a quick 3 or 4 minute run or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So there was that. I guess I played Rocket League quite a lot.
Yeah.
Rob didn't, for some reason.
Well, I joined you for a bit.
Rob fucking played Bridge Constructor a bunch while I was playing Rocket League.
What? Oh, I didn't even see that.
Well, you didn't look hard enough then, did you?
I saw that.
I messed up. What was I doing?
That was funny.
Well, basically, like, Gnome was being quite loud in the room. It was getting quite late at night. I didn't think I had, like, much more than an hour to play a game before, I'm going to bed. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Like, so I thought, I really couldn't think of something to do on my PC. So I thought.
So you played Bridge Constructor? God damn it.
I thought, let's see if it's. I was pretty close to the end of the main campaign. Let's see if I can get myself to. Get close to that 50% achievement mark.
God damn it.
I know. I got a problem.
Yes, you do. I agree. So yeah, I played more Rocket League.
That game sucks, by the way.
Yeah, I know it does. That's why you need to stop. I don't have a problem with the British construction genre, but that's not a good one.
It's not a good one. The physics are inconsistent. Like, you can build a symmetrical bridge, and the right side will always be under stress. It's friggin' symmetry!
Oh dear. That's not good. What do you recommend playing if from the genre that you can actually play?
Well, I haven't kept up with it recently, but there have been
There's
better
a ton
ones.
of them
Yeah, there's actually been several recent ones even.
Yeah.
That
World
are
of
significantly
Goo.
better than British Constructor.
Play World of Goo, right?
That's not new.
No,
in
but
any estate.
it's probably still the best.
And also, that's not really the same thing. Because World of Goo doesn't really have the idea of bridge physics in the same way as real life
Well,
does.
no, definitely not.
It works on this weird spongy physics that is specific to the Goo does.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played Rocket League, and things are getting. I'm still confused by like why I keep changing my style of play, and it works. I'm just like, what? Now I'm playing sort of more up front,
You're
and
playing way more offense than you normally do.
somehow that's still working for me, even though I didn't think that was something I was good at.
I think it's upset our balance a little. Like, I don't think we played as good.
I don't know. I think it's still like I can start to see the idea of like where people get pissed off about goalies, but no, because you still need someone.
There's
I
too many circumstances where a random shot can go off.
Yeah, and I score them all the time from the other end of the pitch,
Yeah.
straight to the goal.
It's a primary method of scoring, has been said.
It's just like that's why you have a goalkeeper. But it's I play like now. I play this. It's like I was playing a game where some guy was like, "Oh, this would be a lot more fun if this guy ever left goal." Meh. And I was like, "Fuck you!" Except I didn't say that because
Most people that send text in that game, are just arse.
obviously.
Because they're the only people that would type.
But so he said that.
I only type in response.
So I don't, and then I tell you not to because it's dumb. Never respond. Don't feed the trolls, etc.
You'll try and play anti-troll.
Yeah, but that you can't win against trolls. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's true.
No, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
So
you have to pay
he
the
said,
troll toll if you want to enter that boy's hole.
So he said that, and it was a game where, well, it was a game we won.
Yeah, didn't we last night? We had some guy basically going, "Oh, please uninstall the game."
Yep.
And he was on our team, and we were winning.
And we were scoring more than him.
Yeah, he was the worst player on our team. Oh boy!
And then he quit.
Yeah, man, quitters are still the biggest problem in that game.
still.
Fuck everything. It's just quitting players is the worst.
But like, so that guy said that on a game where we were winning, and I was playing I was playing in my new style where I'm not entirely in goal all the time, and I was getting up there and doing things, and it's just like he was complaining about the rotation, which is the thing
Sure. Yeah.
where they're like, "Oh, play rotation, bitches! Don't just sit in goal." And it's like I think that now I almost do play rotation. I just play incredibly deep rotation. It's like I'm not in the goal, but I'm not like over midfield.
No,
but I'm there. That's the region that you need to be in to play a defensive semi-goalkeeping position, because otherwise you can't get back fast
see, in some respects, I think my game has got worse as I've been trying to mix up. Well, that too. I just cannot get the flying right. I do not. I'm always too late to it. I don't understand.
No,
I just don't understand.
seems like it.
And even when I get it right, I'm still beaten to it, or it sandwiches in the wrong direction. That I don't understand. And it's like, but I got there. How did that come off negatively? Son of a bitch. That kind of stuff, which really winds me up something rotten now. My targeting's getting better, slowly, but it just never worked out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Alternatively, like my rotation tactic, it's like I'm trying to predict, like, all right, they're going to counter this one.
Yeah,
we can't win.
I mean, that's basically
we
the
can't
idea,
win,
isn't it?
We can't win this particular fight. Let's back off. And the ball still goes over my head in the predictions. It's like, oh damn it! There's no way I could have predicted that or reacted to that fast enough.
Well, it's because that's the thing that I get wrong, but I get it wrong in the other direction. I jump to predict a block shot, but then it goes along the ground.
Right.
Because I'm better at predicting the air shots, but then when it doesn't go in the air, it totally fucks me because I'm miles in the air.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a sort of bad way with that game at the moment. I don't know.
I mean, last time that we played with Kiffers, he seems to have got quite a lot better recently.
Yeah, really?
Like, he's getting competent at flying now, which was weird because he'd never tried it before, almost.
Oh, no.
It was just like, that's strange. I don't know how he did that. Apparently he went into the flying training and did some of that. And I'm like, wow, that's an unusual commitment.
I tried that stuff. That doesn't really help.
No, I don't think it does either, but, you know, it's a start, I guess. But so, yeah, I don't know. That, like, it continues to be strange that I still feel like it's developing new techniques, even though every time that I think I've found a technique that works, it's like, that does work, but then somehow I can do this completely different thing and that still works. It's still dependent on teams. That is the main problem with all of these tactics. You need a team that synergizes because otherwise it doesn't work at all.
No.
Like, I've had several games where it's like, this team is just, they're not bad, it just doesn't work as a team. And we completely fail at actually doing anything at all.
Wow. It's like a real sport.
Yep. So yeah, I didn't really play any more ranked or anything. I just played more. I kept thinking, the trouble that I have with ranked is that I always want to warm up, but then I just keep playing warm-ups. I just forget to stop. And, you know, at a certain point, I don't want... It's the classic problem of, like, I don't want my rank to go up. I want to play against these same people. But it's getting to the point...
The problem is that I have that with the casual stuff, because it even match makes you against your experience, and it's like, I don't want that.
It's getting to the point where now my casual rank is so high that, like, now I have to start playing ranked because my rank is, like, a lower tier than my casual rank.
Well, I think my problem is I've played a lot of hours, but I'm way more infrequent than most people.
Right.
Like, so at my level of experience, I think people are better because they've sort of, I don't know, they burst it, maybe? Or something like that. Because I feel outmatched where I am in the games we play. I'm not at the level of the games we are playing.
Yeah, but you're getting dragged up you're getting put in games that are more like my level because it's countering for my level most of the time.
But then, it doesn't seem to, but it then doesn't drag down. Surely it should be dragging you down, right, as well. Well,
no, but that you can't. Dragging down in Rocket League would be way worse than dragging up because I don't think it's any worse in any direction. Well, no, I think having one person who's way more skillful than everyone else would just make it no fun for all of those people, rather than no fun for one person who's worse than the rest of everyone. If you see what I mean.
To a point.
I mean, at one point when I was trying to matchmake into a Chaos game, which always takes forever because there's not really enough people playing Chaos. It went through the whole matchmaking thing where it was like looking for matches in all skill levels because it got to the bottom of the matchmaking queue and it's like it still hadn't found anything. And I got matched into a game where it was like two teams that were all pro and semi-pro, and then me.
Well, my problem is
and it was like, I'm slightly overmatched here. I can just completely destroy everyone.
Well, my problem is that experience isn't skill.
No, that is the main problem.
They've made that classic problem. It's not the same thing.
But there's no way to solve that problem, is the trouble.
Well, yeah, there is. You put a skill level on it. You do.
Well, no,
you do Xbox True Skill from the original OG, like Xbox Live days.
But then the solution is we only play ranked because that's what that's meant to be.
I guess, and maybe we should. But you kind of always want the team of three.
Yes, you actually want teams, as we discussed previously, even if it's a team of two in a free play game. I guess.
But no, I think doing that for casual, I just think that's a mistake. Like, you either don't rank it at all, or you put skill ranking in. Experience ranking is always the wrong way. The wrong way.
Yeah.
And in fairness, that's what Call of Duty does. I think that experience ranks.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think Call of Duty does that very hard. If you know what I mean.
Well, it
will do a very
Call of Duty seems a bit weak.
It's totally random, right? Yeah, like for the most part, it'll do like a cursory, or it claims it's doing a cursory scan, shall we say, of like balance.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of more okay with that than I am Rocket League's way of doing it.
Well, it's because there's less players in Rocket League, so it makes it more obvious.
It's sort of more important to get it right in Rocket League, and they haven't. Not in casual. I think ranked is fine.
Well, because that's how ranked works, in theory.
Not when you've been playing it as long as I have, and you're just like, I'm not as good as these people anymore.
There's no real way around it for us unless we start playing, unless we leave kippers out of our rank freeze, or we start playing doubles, which I'm
intrigued to try it. We haven't played it since launch, right?
Yeah, but I just don't think doubles is like it doesn't allow for enough actual teamwork.
Dan, we need you.
What about to decide this?
We need you. We just need you in.
Yeah.
Okay. Get you in.
But I'm going to be.
We need you as our kipper substitute.
I don't care. Like, as long as we have a team that we know and we're all chatting, that's way better than just.
All right.
Even if you feel like you're going to suck.
I'm sure we'll get there.
We need you in.
So that's Rocket League. It continues to be a thing.
Ugh. Hoops.
Yeah, that still hasn't happened yet. 30th, supposedly.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed by what that looks like.
What, 2v2, short, small stadium?
Well, the fact that it's 2v2 for a start, obviously that's.
Well, they're going for the NBA Jam thing.
Yeah, but NBA Jam is only a 2v2 because they couldn't technologically manage more than 2v2.
Probably.
And also because, in basketball, 2v2 is like, that makes a sense as a
small court game.
Yeah, makes sense as a sort of a mini version of. But in Rocket League, that's why I don't like doubles, because it always feels like it should be 3v3. But the actual thing that I think was like, I don't understand why they made the ramp at the bottom of the hoop.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Because it looks like, well, I assume it's a ramp, but it looks like it's got a curve up onto the edge of the hoop from ground level.
Maybe but it's too difficult to do without it. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, I can't tell just by looking at it how it works, which is why this is a problem. But it has the ramp coming up from the ground to the edge of the hoop. There's flat ground inside the hoop at ground level. So if you get inside the hoop, you can sit at ground level.
Okay.
So then I was wondering whether...
How do you get out?
Well, yeah, exactly. Then I was wondering whether that because of that, the ramp only affects the ball.
Oh,
like you can drive at ground level under the hoop, but the ball will go up the ramp if it's travelling next to it.
Interesting.
It's like that could theoretically work, but I don't. If you're going to make a basketball game in rugby, make it all fucking aerials. Make it no ramps. Don't cheap it out. Don't let you just punt it up there and then only have to do one aerial. Make you give it into the air.
This might be exactly what I need. Actually, thinking about it, the all aerial.
The all-area training. Yeah, I guess. So I don't know. That seems weird, and it's just another mode. Who's really going to play that much? It's like hockey. It's fun for a while.
Hockey's fun. It's
interesting to experiment with, but it's not Rocket League.
I guess
it's not the main mode.
Like Rocket Labs, which they're adding a map to.
Yes, Rocket Labs. I mean, will those maps make it into regular rotation? Probably.
No. Labs is such a different thing.
I don't know. Well, it depends whether they decide that Rocket Labs will be a thing that they're just going to keep as that. But then if they were to keep adding more maps, then that rotation becomes too long, is the trouble.
I don't think that's a problem in Labs. Like, in Labs, like, chuck as many weird and wonderful things as you want in there.
Yeah, but if you can't...
The variety is what makes the Labs its thing, right? That's why it's its thing. But
if you can't play the maps that you want, then that's going to not make people play it. It's the same, it's the quitter problem all over again. Like with Wasteland even, where it's like, oh, Wasteland's come out, everyone quits. Or some people quit, not everyone. Yeah. Most people have got over that with Wasteland.
Yeah, Wasteland's fine. Always was fine.
Yeah, exactly. But
Rush plan.
It's just like
sorry. It's like I can sort of feel Dan dying.
Yeah, I know, but that's how it always goes in my section of talking.
Not always.
Well, it depends what I've been playing.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't been playing anything of interest to Dan, I guess. I've played some more Factorio.
Wow.
Nice.
Now it's in early access, you mean?
No, not because of that.
Oh, I suppose you did that before.
Yeah, we played the multiplayer once it hit early access.
Yeah.
But I went back and played it myself. I also tried installing some mods to see if I could mix it up a bit, and it sort of worked. But the trouble is that it's the sort of puzzle. It's the sort of puzzle game problem applied into Factorio, where like you solve the puzzle of how to make a thing, and then that's it.
Yeah, and then you're done.
So it's like I can install this new mod that changes the whole like processing tree for the ores. So it's like you don't just mine it, shove it in the furnace, and get an iron plate. Now it's like the mines produce other items like gravel and dirt and like non-ore related components. So you have to filter them off, and then like the actual processing to make the iron ore, you can shove it in a furnace and get a plate, but that's like really inefficient. So there's like 2 more steps where you can like further process the ore. So it creates this whole new thing that you have to build and work out how to do.
But then presumably you just build it.
Yeah, and then once you've worked it out, it's like, well, that's the end of that mod, I guess. I can keep it and just have that always be there, but now I know what I'm trying to do. I've already solved the puzzle.
One of those things, do some of those, like, would a mod like that slow down the flow of the game to the point to make like the other stuff, like the aliens and stuff, more of a problem because it's going to take you longer to build that stuff to get the other stuff?
Sort of, except for
a slightly harder mode. Is that what it?
Well, firstly, it's not like the aliens are that much of a problem, regardless. I guess. And secondly, that it, like in my case, it slowed it down so much that I wasn't really making that much pollution to make the aliens attack me.
Okay.
Because it's such an early point in the game, the first like extracting the ore phase,
sure,
that it's like I haven't got this whole factory that uses tons of ore. I've just got this little mini factory that's making the basics, so I don't need all this extra ore that goes through this process. It makes it slower because I'm not getting as many plates per ore in the early game, but I'm also not extracting them as fast, so I can't make that much more pollution to make the enemies more dangerous.
I think I've had this problem since you started talking about Factorio, but I don't really see how the game has legs, right? Once you've done everything once.
Well, it probably doesn't, because they haven't.
But maybe that's the trick. Most people don't, as they bumble their way through it, that's what
it's because
keeps them hooked for a while, because it's like, I don't know how to do this thing yet.
Well, yeah, there's that, sure. The first playthrough, and then, and you can get 2 or 3 playthroughs out of that because you're like refining your ideas.
Yes,
that's still a process. But I think like the main thing about it is just like there's not a structure beyond there's the map doesn't matter. Is basically the big problem for longevity. And if you go through the campaign where it's these pre-made maps that are very specifically laid out in a certain way to fit the objectives, it's like that makes it more interesting because you're limited and and the map is part of that limit. Whereas when you've got just a big open randomly generated map, it's just like, well, this is the same as every other randomly generated map.
So you think it might benefit from Steam Workshop scenario designers?
Sure. I mean, it has a scenario maker in it, so they could do that in theory, but the scenario making tools are kind of rubbish, so that would have to change before that would become a relatively easy thing to do. But also it's just in some ways it's limited by the game doesn't really care about the map either. It's from a gameplay perspective, you might as well be playing in a big empty room with some aliens in it, because it's done it's sand makes you walk slower. Pretty much irrelevant.
Yeah.
And trees absorb pollution. That's nice, but also irrelevant in the long term because you're going to make more pollution than trees can handle at some point.
Might make the start of the game a bit easier. Maybe.
Yeah, shields you a little bit. But yeah, the landscape is basically irrelevant. And also the other problem with the landscape is because it's flat, there's no other landscape obstacles apart from water. It's either land or water. There's nothing.
Oh, there's not even a hill.
No, there's no
or even just a hill texture, like CNC's old hills.
Well, I mean, there is rocks that get in the way and you can't get rid of them. Apart from you can, you just shoot them with a gun and they explode. They don't explode; they just disappear. But you do shoot them with a gun.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know that what I was thinking is like you almost want. It would be incredibly complicated to do, but you almost want a mod that like randomizes the factory. So it's like every new ore patch you go to is like, okay, this one's iron ore, but it's iron ore that's like modified in this certain way, where it's like you have to process it slightly differently for this specific ore patch. So it's like you have to solve the puzzle every time, and it's new and different every time. It'd be incredibly complicated to do, but that would definitely be like make it more replayable, I guess.
Yeah,
because you wouldn't be solving it in exactly the same way every time. But I don't know if I was thinking because in this mod that I'm using, iron has a different chain from copper. So like iron goes through a different process to extract the most out of it than copper does.
Okay.
And the copper one involves like liquids as well, which the iron one doesn't. So it's like it uses the pipes as well as the conveyors rather than all conveyors or whatever. It's like, so that's sort of interesting, but
again, there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So like if you could only randomize it somehow,
Yeah.
it would be incredibly weird.
You always want it coming up with new materials.
Yeah, it's like this is iron ore, but this is a different kind of iron ore. It's much more difficult to get the iron out of.
If it was like, perhaps it's an impurity thing, right? Like if the like this ore has this crap in it that you need to.
I mean,
with.
Sure, but then it's because at a certain point you're just basically getting iron out of it. There's only one process for getting iron, I guess.
I guess, but then like maybe what you said, like if you get gravel and dirt and stuff out of this mine, you then have to do something with that.
Well, that is sort of the other problem.
Like, could that be the problem? You end up with a sort of waste management.
Well, that is sort of the other problem in Factorio is like you can just shove it all in a chest. At a certain point, every item is just an item, and it just goes in a chest.
Well, there's no like stack limits, or
there are, but they're quite generous.
Yeah, because I would like maybe like making harsh requirements. As I say, you've got all this dirt, you've got gravel, it's got to go somewhere.
Well, that was the other mod that I was imagining could make this whole mod even more extensive. Would be like some kind of spoil heap mechanic, where it's like you have to put it on the landscape, but that's not really that interesting or complicated. It's just like you build a building and then all the crap goes out.
You kind of almost want the impurities to be dangerous in some way, right? Like if they get, the stuff that comes out, you can't do anything with it, but it's explosive if it gets shot by aliens.
I guess. But then again, yeah, like I said, the aliens aren't a problem, so that's not actually.
No, but that's what I mean. You need something to create more danger, or
I mean,
a problem that you have to deal with dynamically.
It was an idea that I'd thought about just in sort of crafting games in general, like Minecraft or whatever. The idea of randomization, I'd sort of come up with it before, but like, what you want is like the different materials that act similar but slightly different and have a different process. And it can be randomized. Like when you have iron and it makes iron plates, it's like, what if you replace the iron with titanium and it gives you a different bonus or something? Like it's functionally the same. Like you can build the same stuff out of it, but it like gives you a stat bonus or something, and has a different process to extract it. So it's like, this titanium building is faster because it's more sturdy or something. I don't know. It's like if you could have that randomized resource extrapolate into the whole process, it would give you a reason to like specifically extract that resource. And if the process to extract it was randomized, I don't know. It's a big mess.
That's real difficult.
It'd be real difficult to do, but it'd be cool. That's my idea for a game. That is literally my idea for a game. Is to make a game where
not anymore.
To make a game where like the periodic table is randomized, so you could come across an ore of something and be like, "What the fuck is this?" And then you actually have to work out its physical properties in order to know what it's useful for. Like, no, this is like lead because it's super heavy, but it's also really conductive, like gold. Maybe I can use that. Yeah,
there's a logic to that. But then, how on earth do you define the things?
That's the problem. The actual random generation part of that is incredibly complicated because you're basically at a certain point you're just building physics.
Yeah.
It's like, conductivity and weight and heat transfer.
We could make laptops, but they'll weigh a ton. So they'll be like underwater laptops, like because they'll sink.
Yes. Like most laptops don't, clearly.
They'll sink faster. Because that's how it works.
So yeah, Factorio played quite a lot more relatively speaking. But I've been listening to podcasts again, so that's the crossover there.
Right.
It's a convenient way to be listening to a podcast and spending time doing a thing that's not that complicated and takes time. And that was mostly what I played, I think. I've also been continuing to play Fire Emblem, the old one, because I'm not done with that run through again.
Sure.
And I've got to the point of getting all the children back in, and they're all super overpowered as they always were.
Yeah.
I didn't entirely min-max it, but I got closer. It's like on the second run through, on the first run through, I sort of knew that it was a thing, so I sort of looked at the guides and vaguely went in logical directions. It's like, I don't want to make children that are inherently bad, but maybe I don't necessarily want the best.
Right, I see.
But
to keep it more tactical, I'll just...
it's like, who seems like they have a good relationship, like, through the story?
Oh, right, you did it socially.
Yeah. Semi-socially. I was like, these guys still don't go together because they make a bad child, but these guys have a decent enough relationship, let's go with that. But this time through, I went a bit more min-maxy, where I was like, okay, what are the actual ones that give you the best stats? But I didn't min-max the skills, because min-maxing the skills seems really boring, because there's basically 2 skills and you just give them to everyone you possibly can.
Right.
Because there's 2 skills that basically are super game-breaking, and if you give them to as many children as you can, it makes all of them super overpowered.
Which are they?
There's one where when you kill an enemy, you move again. So you basically get 2 turns per turn.
Right, okay. Does that go on for a third?
No, it's only once.
Only works once, okay.
And then there's the other one is when you kill an enemy, you just gain health.
Quite classic, that move again thing after you kill an enemy. I think that was in Massive Chalice at some point.
Well, I mean, it's a logical strategy game, turn-based strategy game idea.
Well, I think actually that one you could just keep chaining.
That's the super hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, intelligent systems, they made advanced wars. That's basically Eagle's power.
Okay.
Except in his case, you move every unit again, which was incredibly overpowered.
Wow. Oh, yeah, no, it just gave you an extra turn.
Yeah. You just got another turn.
I remember that.
It was the most ridiculously overpowered CO power you could possibly have. I mean, there were penalties, like your units weren't as effective on the second turn, but it was still a whole fucking second turn.
Yeah. If you just move somewhere real fast. Or cap something real quick.
But still not as quick as Sammy's. The old Sammy trick.
Oh, but just stuff an infantry at the back.
Yeah, where her infantry could cap in 1 turn with her CO power.
Yeah. I remember that too.
Just run directly into the base and cap it. So yeah, I didn't quite min-max. I gave 2 people the double move ability. And then I was just like, everyone else can have things that are cool.
Just stuff that looks fun.
And then I was like, what classes do they want? And then I, ground up their levels. It was like,
I still love that ground up.
Here we go for a ton of leveling. Get everyone up to approximately the same level so that then they're all equally theoretically powerful, except the children are all inherently more powerful because they just have better base stats. So yeah, been doing that. So I finished it. I forgot how... I got to the point where once I unlocked once I once I ground everyone up to the same level.
I still don't know how to say that.
Yeah, we don't know.
I'm going with ground. I'm going with ground. Once I ground everyone up to the same level, and I'd been progressing through the story at a rate that I thought was appropriate to the level I was at. So I was like, I wasn't incredibly overpowered compared to the enemies. I was sufficiently overpowered, as it were. But then once I made all the marriages happen, so all the missions that you can get the children from appeared, and I went and did all of them and got all the children, and then started grinding the children up to the appropriate level, so they all matched. And then I was like, wait, there's only 2 actual story missions left.
No, right. Yeah.
So when am I ever going to use these children? It's kind of awkward.
Never.
There's a sale on for the DLC, so I can buy the DLC for cheap and do all those missions, I guess.
I have no idea if that's any good or not.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is theoretically it would at least be new maps, and that's kind of the important thing, I guess, in those kind of games. Is at a certain point you want a new, because when you're just grinding in that game, you're just fighting randomly generated enemies on the maps of the main game.
which means you can abuse their tactics.
So it's like maybe you spawn in a different place than you did in the story mission version of this map, but it's still that map, and you still know where all the choke points are and
how to game the AI.
How to make the AI do what you want, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a weird balance with that, where it's like by the time you've got sufficiently powerful to get all the children, it's almost the end of the game anyway.
Right. I suppose it's one way of trying to gate it, I guess, but if you're not doing too much grinding.
Yeah, but it's like you want to use the children. You want to use these nice new units you've got, but you can't because the game's always there. Disappointing.
I need like an Advanced Wars style like challenge mode or whatever.
Yeah, just like that's just like basically more maps, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what the DLC is, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe.
But then you have to pay for it.
Boo.
I kept thinking about going back to one of the Advanced Wars. I'm still really, even now, I'm still really annoyed that I never managed to finish hard mode in Advanced Wars 1 and 2.
Oh, the old GBA ones?
Yep. In Advanced Wars 1 and 2, I got to the last mission in hard mode on both of them, but the last mission is fucked in both of them. And it's really annoying. Although in 1, it's significantly more fucked, because in Advanced Wars 1, there's certain missions, and you don't know this unless you look it up, but there's certain missions in the storyline of Advanced Wars 1 where you have a choice of COs, and which CO you choose in those missions determines which COs you get in the last mission.
Oh, wow. Like positively or negatively, as in the ones you pick are the ones you end up with?
No, it's not direct.
Oh, right, okay.
It's like which ones you chose to do those missions in determines which ones you get at the end, and that can completely fuck you up.
Yeah.
It's like, because in my eternal save file that is never going to be deleted on my actual GBA card of Advanced Wars 1, it's like, in the last mission I've got fucking Sammy, and that's completely useless, because her only good thing is infantry, and the enemy has a million tanks.
Yeah, alright.
So that save is basically completely useless, but I don't want to delete it.
Oh man, yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, it kind of sucked that I never did get to finish those. I mean, I guess I technically finished them. I saw the last mission.
Yeah. You finished them in normal. You're like, that's finished. That's you beat the game by that terminology.
And then you can extend that even out to the most recent one, Dark Conflict, where it's like I finished the game, and I S-ranked everything apart from the last mission because the last mission was a bastard.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was evil beyond words.
Yep, exactly. And it was like that ridiculous difficulty spike where it's like S-rank every mission relatively easily. Last mission get a C because the difficulty spike is so severe.
It's insane. I do wonder if Dark Conflict just had a little, maybe they cut it short, in its development cycle, which is something happened.
Well, yeah, it did seem like it didn't have enough content.
Yeah, something happened to be all no, we just need to get this out. And that's why that end mission is so ridiculous, because it's maybe there was supposed to be more of a ramp to that point.
But I don't think a ramp wouldn't help, really, would it? Because in Advanced Wars, you don't have progress. You don't get better.
No, you don't. No, well, I guess not. But
unless you get a new CO, of course, that theoretically could mitigate.
Maybe,
something.
but it wouldn't be so much. Yeah, it could mitigate a certain scenario, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, I'm going to rattle through mine then, because we've been going hella long.
As always.
I finished New Super Mario Bros. 2.
Thank God. You can actually play something else on the 3DS.
So I thought I'd finished it.
Yeah. And then was there 8 more levels?
No, there's a single new world.
Oh, okay.
There's only one more
it's
world.
Not as ridiculous as it.
And it's basically just more levels. There's nothing particularly...
Right.
They do some... They're kind of quirky levels.
Sure.
They have some odd tricks, and in some respects they feel a little bit more like Mario Maker levels. Some of them, they're just messing around with some ideas.
Yeah.
But I something about that game doesn't quite gel as much as again. I said this before. New Super Mario Bros. U is a better game. Something about it just there's something about the feel of the levels, the design of the levels, it's just that little bit better all round in that version. And the coin thing is silly.
Yep.
Like, I'm at like 36,000 coins now or something out of 1 million, and it's like, well, I'm never going to do that.
No.
There's like coin rush mode, which I haven't tried yet, which might like.
Yeah, apparently that is the way to get a lot of coins.
Yeah. So maybe I'll give that a go. But I think like Nintendo keeps making the same mistakes, I think, with some of its games, especially its Mario games, because it's there are some levels which are really quite long and only have like one checkpoint in them. So like there'll be a hard section like right after a checkpoint quite often, and you'll get through that and you'll be like, oh great, right, let's get to the end of the level. And then there'll be another super hard section, and then you have to go all the way back to the checkpoint to do that whole bit of level again. And yes, that's part of the challenge, but then it's held back by the fact that it takes so long to come in and out of levels. Like, Mario dies. He gets
loading.
No, well, it's not even loading. I don't know. Like, he gets kicked out to the map. He'll sit there for a moment going, oh, and then it'll give you back control, and then you go into the map, and then it'll play the animation of him going into doing his little, I'm going into the level pose.
Yeah.
And then you'll get the world introduction screen, and then it goes into the level, and it's like, there's too much. There's too much.
It's like, that definitely shouldn't happen on a checkpoint.
No.
That should only happen if you start the whole level.
You should go straight back into the level immediately. And that gets way worse as the game goes on. Like, the further through the game, like, the longer the sections become, the harder the sections become, the more frustrating that becomes to wait. The worst example is the last level.
Naturally. So,
the very, very last level is effectively a boss level with some really irritating segments, to be fair. But there is one of the rare occasions where there are 2 checkpoints in the level.
Right.
And there's a checkpoint before the final boss.
Obviously.
Of which there are 2. Like,
wait, what? It's not final then, isn't it?
Well, no. This is part of the problem. So, and when I say it's the final level, there is like a slightly remixed version of this fight in the Star World, which unlocks after you do this one.
Right. Yeah.
But it's very subtly remixed. You've got to do this twice, and it sucks both times. So it starts off with a classic sort of like the classic Bowser on a bridge style fight, which is a nice throwback to begin with.
Which isn't the fight, it's basically the...
Yeah, sort of. You just have to time your run
it's
and
not
hit the button. And there's some fireballs to dodge on the way there. Fine. Then you have to sit through, and I timed it, a 50-second sequence while Princess Peach gets dragged away and platforms then appear, and then you go and give chase, and then all the Koopalings cast a spell on the already defeated Bowser to make him supersized. Spoiler alert, naturally. I guess, for a 4-year-old game.
Also quite similar to what they've done in other games.
Yeah. But that takes 50 seconds and is unskippable. And the boss fight has insta-kill attacks. It is actually quite a crap and long boss fight. It has lava in it, and lava is always insta-kill.
Yep.
And it's and then you have to go through it again and do the mini-boss, and then sit through the 50-second sequence. It's awful. There is no other way to describe it. That is just bad all around. Modern games shouldn't put you through that. It's I got to that point, failed it a couple of times, and had to put it down for a week, and then came back to it, and I was like, right, let's do this. Because it just annoyed me so much. To the point where I'm losing my voice over it.
Apparently.
Oh, man. But, yeah, I finished it. It's fine. It's a Mario game. It's fine. It's still good. It's still Mario.
Yep.
But, man, you need to change your structure. How the little bits hang together like that. It needs to be quicker.
And skippable.
Just make it skippable, man.
That's one of the advantages of Fire Emblem. So hit start, all that dialogue goes away.
Really?
Not that you have to read. Also, I guess the other important one for Fire Emblem is soft reset.
Oh, right, yeah, because it doesn't save?
Well, you can't save mid-mission.
Oh, okay.
So if something goes wrong in the middle of the mission, just soft reset and load yourself and start over.
Yeah.
And then press start to skip all the dialogue you just saw. You're all good.
Fair enough.
Surprisingly adequate. You know what?
I wonder if in Iron mode it deletes your save before you start a mission.
Yeah,
that's probably quite harsh.
I don't know if that's in Fire Emblem, or at least not that one.
It does have a proper permadeath mode, doesn't it?
Yes, but that's still related to your save.
Okay.
The thing that I didn't know on the 3DS for ages?
What's that?
Is you can hold down L to speed up the stuff in the Street Pass Plaza.
It says that.
It says that like once,
Yeah.
and I must have not ever read that when it happened the first time, and then I never saw it again. So I didn't know that forever.
Fair enough.
That's a weird, and it's doubly weird because that is the speed up button in like other games, like non-Nintendo games even. I don't know why the L button is the speed up button. Apparently it is.
Like a Phoenix Wright thing as well, or like that game needs that stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I started playing Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask.
Yep.
As my next DS game.
Get some puzzles.
Get some more puzzles. Yeah. There's a lot of dialogue in that game.
I'm sure
there's a lot of dialogue in that game. And it's slowing it right down.
Well, that's because that's how the story happens.
Yeah, but there's a lot of...
The puzzles are barely related to anything.
No, I'm not very far into it, but there are quite a few puzzles I've hit so far where it's just like, well, that was a sidetrack and a half. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's what that entire game is going to be, there's no point in this puzzle being here, but whatever. Let's carry on.
Yeah.
I'm here for the puzzles. And it's like, there's too much story. And oddly, toying with the 3D on that game is harsh. Like, it's really strong. Like, my eyes can't deal with it. I have to, turn it just enough so you can see it. And that's the sweet spot. Not that you need 3D in a game like that, but it's there. And they've done all the actual anime cutscenes in 3D as well, which is quite cool.
Sure.
Anime happens.
Anime happens in Fire Emblem as well.
Yeah. Not a great deal to report. It's puzzles.
Yeah.
It seems good. Bit too much dialogue. What else have I been doing? Not a great deal, actually. I've had quite a bitty week. I played a bit of Perfect Dark HD.
Why?
Why?
Just because I started it at some point. I'm up to... I think I've just rescued Elvis.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm in the middle of rescuing Elvis because that mission is split up.
That's where it kind of gets...
It gets poopy.
Yep.
Yeah, it gets real bad. The level design in that game is actually quite awful. I guess it was before people were figuring it out for realsies, I guess. Still.
I mean,
but it's like, it just doesn't signpost anything. It's like I spent ages trying to do the first bit of Area 51, the second mission of Area 51, not realizing that where I had to go was actually a door. It just looked like part of a wall.
Right.
And it's like, oh, that's a door. Jeez.
Well, I guess that, it's Area 51, secret.
I had to watch a video and figure out, what am I doing wrong here? I don't know where to go.
It's basically just like GoldenEye. Everyone loves the first few levels of GoldenEye, and it's shitty.
The bloody, was it the jungle? GoldenEye, man, that was bad. It's real confusing. And to some aspects, I'd it's realism, right? You're never told where to go, but you'd signpost some things.
But you have a Google Glass. Just get an overlay.
Yeah. You do. Yeah, you even actually do in that game, and it's never used. So I've played a little bit of that. It's quite, in some respects, other than not knowing what the fuck to do, it is somewhat relaxing just to stick it in agent mode and just run around shooting stuff.
Yeah.
It does that. And the one other thing I guess it's worth talking about, I'm not talking about Bridge Constructor, before you look at me like that, is I tried the Nostromo DLC for Alien, and then immediately realised I don't want to play any more Alien.
Right. You're done with
so
that.
it only managed to hook you in while you were hooked.
While I was doing the campaign, yeah. As soon as the campaign is over, apparently I'm out. Because I tried doing...
You got 50% of the achievements.
I don't know. I don't even know if I did. I haven't looked. I tried it, and it's quite hard, and the alien seems smarter than it did during the campaign. It's way more eager to get in the vents with you than it was during the campaign. I don't think that ever happened to me during the campaign. But this time, I'm getting caught out by it all the time. It will just you think it's walked past, and then it'll suddenly come back, poke its head through the vent, and then it sees you, and then you're screwed. Unless you flamethrower it and get lucky that way. But, the flamethrower is not a 100% reliable solution. That seems hard, and there's no save points. I think you've got to do it in one run. And it was taking quite a while for me to get to the point where I screwed up each time. And I tried it like 3 or 4 times and then thought, nope, I'm done. I've had enough of this. It's fine. It's more Alien content, right? But it's just hard. Too hard for me. And without the hook of the story, I fell off like completely.
Yeah. Enough.
There's basically no story to this either. It's just like, the alien's on board. We've got a plan. Let's do this plan. There you go. That was the story of the Nostromo DLC.
Well, it's like that was the story of the film.
I guess, yeah. Yeah. No, again, it's not a slight against its quality. It's just I've fallen off. Fell off hard. Fortunately, after beating the main game.
Yep, helpful.
I think I'm done to me. I think I'm out.
And
Still
that may be
crossing.
Pick crossing.
Yeah, still doing the daily challenges on pick cross. Get some pick rights so I can unlock the next area.
Yep.
Which I'll probably be doing for months.
Yep.
It's quite addictive. Even if you could only do this 2-minute challenge every day. Yeah, that's me. Don't know what I'm going to play next in terms of a big game. I've not latched onto anything recently, but maybe I should latch back into Rocket League.
You need to latch onto something.
Yeah.
You do. I remember that.
Finish some fast racing.
I know you're probably waiting for a PC stuff, I guess, but you do need to play Grand Theft Auto at some point. I think you would like.
I do. I need to play The Witness. Actually.
No, that's true.
Yeah. That is very much top of my PC list.
It's 10% off at the moment.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, shit, I should get that.
But I have quite a lot on my backlog, as always. But
you always have.
And also, I just had a parking ticket to pay for.
That's true.
And also, which actually wasn't that unreasonable. Not the Ipswich parking ticket prices are pretty good.
Well, compared to the actual cost of actually legitimately getting a parking.
Oh, it used to cost me way more when I got caught out in Southampton a few times. It was way more expensive there. Dan died.
Dan falls over at that.
Damn it.
And I've totally forgot what I was going to say.
You're saying why you haven't played a game.
Yeah, well, and also it's like 2 weeks to Star Fox.
Oh, okay.
And I'm getting that, for sure.
Got to play something.
I know, I've got 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
I finished Alien in like 2 weeks.
And
I can do something else.
You need something big as well. And also, I think you could still manage 2 games at once.
Oh, I sort of do, don't I? Oh, no, that's something else I did.
What?
Sorry. Again, I won't touch on this very much, but I played a bit of Killer Instinct to see what the PC version's like.
Oh, okay.
That game looks good.
Yeah, apparently it's fine within the Windows 10 Storm Doom Fest.
No, it's absolutely fine. Like, this seems to be the one game.
Unlike Quantum Break.
Oh, yeah, I suppose that's news. Quantum Break's PC version is another bad game for Windows.
Thing.
Universal Windows platform game.
It doesn't sound like that game's that good anyway. So.
I don't know. The opinions are very, very mixed. Like, some people really, really love it, and others are quite down on it. It's like, depends how much you appreciate the narrative and or the shooting. It's like,
it would.
Yes, but technically it's very good. The graphical set pieces are very nice. The style, it runs great
when it's not on Windows.
But I guess because it's so narratively focused in some ways, it's like that has to gel with you. And for those where that hasn't gelled, it's reviewed badly. For those that have got into it, it's reviewed well. And it seems to hang on that completely.
Right, yep.
Which kind of makes sense, given the type of game it is, maybe. But yeah, Killer Instinct Season 3, it's absolutely fine. The Arbiter sounds weird.
Yeah, naturally.
He's weird. But I haven't played as him because I don't have the Season 3 characters, but
sure,
he looks real interesting to play as. Like with his plasma rifle.
Well, I think the trouble is they didn't go far enough.
Well, it's a carbine, sorry.
Yeah, I think I think, and I don't know shit about Killer Instinct or fighting games really, but but I don't think they went far enough with making him like more like a Halo character. he still basically
He blends in.
jumps around like ridiculous teleports and all those all that stuff that the Killer Instinct characters do. It's just that he has a gun, which is a slightly. I mean, it's basically a fireball technically,
Sort of. Except you just pull right trigger.
Yeah.
They've done that. That's cool.
And he has the grenade, which
Basically a heavy-
recharges over time. And
It's like doing a throw, but you use the heavy buttons,
Yeah.
basically. Which is what is mapped to the right trigger. Oh no, or is it? Oh, I can't remember. No, right trigger is just heavy. It's heavy kick.
but it's like he seems too fast. They should have made him slower
I guess.
somehow.
A bit more.
I don't know how that would have worked in the Killer Instinct way.
No. I don't know. I'd probably need to show you Aganoth. That's a ridiculously slow, beefy character.
Yeah, I mean he's slower,
Yeah.
but
That game is still cool, man. I got back into it, and it's just like, this is fun. This game is fun. I suck balls at it now, but
actually,
it's fun. I messed around with the Shadow Lab a bit, trying to train up an Orchid, because Orchid used to be my character
yeah.
when I was playing it for realsies. And then I tried playing what they have Shadow Survival mode, where it's basically you go up against an endless stream of other players' shadows.
Yeah.
That's really, really hard.
No surprise there, really.
Really hard. Even at the lowest level that I am, bog standard, untested shadows. It's really hard, but quite good fun, because they play very differently to the AI. That game's great. The Windows 10 version is good. I can delete it from my Xbox, maybe.
Save some space.
Yeah.
Not very much.
Well, it's like 21 gigs.
Okay.
So it's reasonably sized. And the game didn't patch when Season 3 came out. It basically said, there's an update for Killer Instinct.
Get rid of all that other shit.
Well, yeah, I basically just installed it on the PC and it did a 21 gig download. And then it's like, you need to quickly fire up. If you've got the Xbox version, you need to sync your save.
Yeah.
So the Xbox version will download your save and then convert it into the format that's Windows 10 happy. Or whatever it needs to do. It needs to do something to it.
Yeah.
So I fired that up and it said, you need an update. Oh, how big's the patch? 21 gigs. Oh, well, that's not a patch then, is it? Damn it. So I downloaded 42 gigs that night.
Nice.
Still good. Still good. Worth playing. It's worth playing if you're not much of a fighting game person, is what I would argue.
That's what it seems like.
It's really accessible. And the tutorials are pretty good. They're pretty good. I still think there's room for improvement, but they're pretty good. And I'm done. I'm out. It's really late, and I need Pete.
Yep.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I think we are out. Thanks for joining us, listeners. Catch us next time for more Saladcast, and always check out the YouTube channel for crazy videos. What's the latest?
Pimple Illusions went up last week.
That's the one.
Yep.
Pimple Illusions. So, and
What's coming up next? Probably Capsized coming up next, if I can think of a way of editing it.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Problems.
That needs some work.
Stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you next time on the Saladcast.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.